after the town report. Okay.
All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. I apologize for us being a minute or two late. If you could all stand if you're able and join Councilor Balboni on the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Senath, roll call, please.
Councilor Ouellette. Present. Councilor Pendleton. Councilor Cordero.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Paterna.
Here.
Mayor Zimmerman.
Here.
Councilor Delnicki. Here. Councilor Fitzgerald. Here. Councilor King. Here. Councilor Balboni.
Thank you very much.
Councilor Pendleton.
Oh, sorry. All right, we're gonna move on. Item 4 is mayor's remarks, and I did have a couple comments to make. I wanted to give everybody an update on the budget process tonight. Just so everybody, just a reminder that the total town budget presented by the town manager would result in a 6.97% tax increase. A taxpayer living in a home assessed at $350,000 would pay approximately $875 per year. Obviously, we are working to lower the proposed 697 tax increase. While some options being considered would actually cut spending, some others would defer spending to a future budget, would be offset by an increase in user fees, or would use up limited reserves. For the most part, we're looking for the best solution from among bad or flawed alternatives. Once this budget is done, I plan to lead a discussion on changes that we need to make to get through the next 4 to 5 years. When approving the budget, including increasing taxes, the town council will have to balance the need for staff and services, some costly, with the effect on future budgets and increased costs for taxpayers already dealing with rising costs for daily necessities like food, housing, healthcare, utilities. We're currently scheduled to formally vote on the entire town budget on Monday, May 4th. We may delay this vote until a special meeting on Wednesday, May 13th, if we believe that the state legislative session that ends on May 6th could include enough new revenue to affect our budget decisions. Just a reminder that to reduce a tax increase by 1%, we will need to reduce spending and/or increase revenue by a combined total of $1.35 million. As I've previously stated, while I'm just one of the minimum 5 votes needed to pass this budget, as mayor, I'll ultimately be responsible for the budget decision we make. Like the other town councilors and town staff, please understand that this is a responsibility that I and the rest of us take very seriously. Thank you. Item 5 is adoption of addenda. Deputy Mayor Paterna.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to present the agenda or adopt the agenda as presented with one change. I'd like to move item 13E, which is a resolution appointing a town attorney, to just below after public input. Item 7.
All right. Any questions, concerns? Councilor Delnicki.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question regarding for the agenda, if we should remove it or not. 11A2. It says it's the resolution for Steve Armstrong as an alternate to replace the unexpired term of Rose Maturo. And I do not see any resignation letter of Rose resigning from the commission. So how can we?
I think she was just appointed as a full member, so she went from an alternate to a full member position on that commission.
Okay, and then the form that was filled out by the chair, of the nominating committee. It does not state a replacement. Too many forms here. Yeah, it says name of person, name of who is being replaced or vacancy. So just want to, for future, Rose Maturo, and not to you, to the chair of the Committee on the Democratic Party. Also, the dates are different. What's in the agenda? The dates, it says 2029 for that position. And in the resolution, it says December 2026.
Yeah, the nomination form is incorrect.
So the form is incorrect.
Right.
And the same thing for 11A1, the same
Right.
thing, that form was incorrect as well?
Right, correct.
Okay. Then,
So what are you asking us to do for those two?
no, I was just wanted to make, if we needed to remove 11A2, because we don't have a resignation, that's why
Okay, now I understand the question, but I guess based on the answer that we didn't need a resignation, but I understand there's a couple mistakes. Are you asking us to pull them and add them back on May 4th?
no, there's no, because the resolution is correct
Okay,
on the,
okay,
nope, so,
It's correcting dates.
okay.
yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Because the form was incorrect.
Okay.
So, no other motion.
Does anybody have any other questions or concerns with Deputy Mayor Paterna's proposal? All right, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? All right, passes unanimously, thank you. We are up to...
Aye.
Thank you. We are up to item 6, communication and reports from the town manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In terms of my report for all of you, I did a kind of an update on a lot of the development that's going on in town. So at a glance, currently we have 25 active projects across town. 7 certificate of occupancies have been issued, and we have a bunch of major projects under construction at this current time. I think just to jump down in my report, some notable process is the 240 Deming Street project, which includes 55-unit multi-family development for individuals with developmental disabilities as well as low income. We also have the Russian School of Mathematics, United Delivery, and then lastly the Trax radio tower at the animal control facility. And then just moving a little further, I think it's important to note our recently completed projects include Stretch Lab, USA Hauling, Domino's, the Wicked Press, Grammy's Garden Daycare, Three Amigos, and the Yukon store over at Evergreen Walk. I think our building department is fairly busy, although we've had some busier years, but overall they're doing some great work. And that's all I have from my written report. One other item I did want to bring to the council's attention that we were made aware of today, that we just received a LOTSIP grant from the state of Connecticut for $3.4 million for redevelopment of Governor's Highway. So excited that we've been approved for that project, and we're going to be looking forward to seeing that move forward. And that's all I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions from the council.
Just for a minute, thought you got us $3.4 million in additional revenue. And I think we all got excited.
No. Not that good.
But still good. Councilor Delnicki.
Thank you. Mr. Maniscalco, do you have a current update on the playground at Nevers Road Park, where the status is, when it's going to be completed? Or?
Sure. So the work that's going on there now is on the little kids portion of the playground. That's phase 1 of the project. They're currently waiting on the weather to shift just a little bit, so we can be confirmed that the weather will be good. They can then put in the pour-in-place flooring for that area. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we should be able to see that get installed, and we'd be good to go.
So once that flooring is done, then it can reopen for play?
That is my understanding, yeah.
Probably Memorial Day around there, is that?
My hope would be
If the
Memorial
weather.
Day. I mean, we're always stuck with the weather, unfortunately, so.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor King.
Thank you. Councilor Cordero and I received a text message email just in regards to, let me just make sure I asked the right question, the need to reseed along Birch Hill Drive. How can those residents find where they need to reach out to? Because I guess there's a bunch of spots that need to get reseeded.
Sure.
So who should they reach out to?
It was Birch Hill Drive?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm your man.
There you go.
So I will make sure that gets taken care of. I will say there are a number of places throughout the community that over the winter months got damaged as a result of plowing activities and everything else. And little by little, Public Works has been trying to get through and address them. I'm going to guess it's probably already on their list. They just haven't gotten there yet, but I'll make sure it is.
Counselor Cordero.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilor Cordero. Mr. Maniscalco, in regards to the delayed two projects you have listed here, the waste management, I know it says no permit or contractor, it's still on hold. Do you know what's holding that up?
I am not aware. They have not told me yet, so.
And the second part, which I've asked before in the past, is Sally's of Pisa.
Sure,
It's
yeah.
concerning since there was an article out recently about another facility they're trying to, or we're developing, and it's like 2-3 years behind. In regards to that building itself, since if you look at it inside, it's just dirt, just a bare wall structure. Any word on that? Is it concerning that there are other projects in Norwalk, might be go litigation as to what that holds for that building?
So, you know, I think as we've said from the beginning with Sally's, if you look at some of the other locations they've said they're going to develop, it's been multiple years till they actually do get to develop them. Fingers crossed they actually do move forward with this site. If not, I'm certain given the location, it is going to be a hot commodity for somebody to move in there. So that being said, I don't really know too much more beyond what you saw in the newspaper, and you know, it seems personally to me like maybe they've overextended themselves with some of the announcements they've made of opening 1,000 new stores in the country. So hopefully that's not the case, and we would love to have them open up here tomorrow. But unfortunately, they seem to be taking their time.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions for the town manager? All right. Seeing none, we're at public comment. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak to the council at this time? All right, so Mr. Wagner, if you just hold 1 minute. All right, so for everybody's information, public input shall not exceed 30 minutes. When recognized by the mayor, the speaker shall approach the lectern, give their name and address. Speakers shall avoid personal attacks or impugning or alleging an improper motive to any person. The speaker may address the council on any matter within our jurisdiction. The speaker shall limit their speaking time to 5 minutes. Mrs. Seneth will keep track. The town council does not respond at the same meeting you speak to us. And Mr. Wagner, you can go first. And if any of the speakers aren't finished at 5 minutes, we'll just ask them to try to finish up. And Mrs. Seneth, hopefully you can figure this out because it's stuck on 2 minutes. Steve, can you just hold 1 minute? Just so we can.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I have no problem with keeping the time, and
Let's do that. Yep. Mr. Wagner, why don't you go ahead? I
Well, my
apologize.
name is Steve Wagner. I live at 181 Tumblebrook Drive in South Windsor. I'm going to comment on what you have as a discussion item later. So I would offer to either make my comments now or wait and participate in that discussion. It's up to you.
You should do it now because we can't necessarily bring you up. Yep, go ahead.
All right, so as you know, and basically there should be in your desk somewhere a copy of my remarks. As you know, the Energy Committee has been having trouble meeting due to frequent lack of quorum. The last time we had a quorum was in November 2025. Our membership is currently 12, requiring 7 for a quorum. However, we have 2 vacancies, including one of 2 town council seats. We have 2 staff positions, one for the municipality and one for the Board of Ed. Since the agenda doesn't always affect the Board of Ed, his attendance is infrequent. 3 current members, including the sole town council member, neither attend nor respond to requests for planned attendance from Ms. Senath. One other member has frequent business conflicts and has offered to resign. At least 5 active and enthusiastic members, but not enough to form a quorum. In addition, these members occasionally have personal conflicts such as travel. I was traveling last week, for example, that prevent them from attending. And forgetting to respond to Ms. Senath's request for attendance has the same effect. During informal discussions, we have identified offers but can't vote for them due to a lack of a quorum. I'm not one of those, by the way. We would also like to suggest changes in the role of the committee, but that can't happen either. I brought this to your attention at your February 17 meeting, but you haven't acted on that. In addition, I offered a pair of resolutions redefining the membership and proposing a revised membership list. However, you've chosen to have a discussion today rather than act on those proposals. I guess they're an exhibit to the agenda. I didn't pull that up. The Energy Committee our next meeting is May 12th, so I hope you can act in time for that meeting. The Energy Committee is a subcommittee of the Town Council and is established in the Rules and Procedures document. With a supermajority, that document can be revised without a public hearing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mrs. Senath, is there somebody else who's signed up? Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Warner.
My name is Charles Werner, and I live at 2 Berry Patch in South Windsor. I'm asking again, what is going to be done for seniors, such as the suggestion that I would make was we have a discount for veterans when they pay their property tax. Why can't there be one for seniors above the age of 65 or 70?
We have one.
Excuse me?
We have one.
Councilor Pendleton, right now it's public comment.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's part of it. The other part is, I note that you said there's been approval for the Deming Street project to proceed. I approve of the project. I don't approve of the people building it. The same people that own Berry Patch, and if you'll come down to Berry Patch and take a look around, you'll find why you should not be approving Metro Realty to be building a postcard. Never mind a apartment complex for disabled people. There's no reason for it. The other thing too is, how does one get in touch of this rent commission so I can file formal complaints against them, because I don't know how to do that. Who do I call and who do I talk to? Okay, and pretty much I think that we need to start talking a lot more about seniors. I understand you got a budget deficit, but that doesn't mean that senior problems are gonna go away. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mrs. Werner. She? Okay. Joe Kennedy.
Joe Kennedy, 81 Allison Drive. We thank the councilors, commissioners, town employees, volunteers, local clubs, civic groups, and nonprofits for the dedication and the good work they do. Second, I have a suggestion for the local budget. I would like to see a 3% decrease in the potential tax increase. I think we could do a one-year hold on capital improvements. I know people are waiting to get their streets done and stuff like that. I know Farnham Estates is on the list, but we've got it, even though inflation is 3.2%, we got to knock down 7 to at least 3 or 4. And I know you guys do a lot of hard work, and you're going to be doing more work, and we commend you for that. Third, federal cuts. I'm going to be speaking in the next perhaps 3-4 months. Some of them give their blood and treasure just to protect this country, and we can't protect them. That isn't right. That isn't right at all. 5, the trade budget we had under President Trump. I'll give you one. The difference between 2024 and 2025 and 2025's corn and soybeans. Corn went down, and fourth, and there's cuts, and fourth, and there's cuts, potential Medicare and Social Security. We pay into both those programs. I don't know why.
Tom Rogers. I live at 58 Farnham Road. Tom Rogers. I live at 58 Farnham Road. I'm here. I've been paying tax. My wife and I have been paying taxes here for about 4 decades. And now that we retired, my wife just happened to get sick and pass in November. So I'm finding myself living on one Social Security check. And I've been in my house for 40 years. I've been paying taxes here in the town for 40 years. And now all of a sudden, I'm facing an economic crisis, saying that, well, I've paid my fair share. We've never complained, always paid. But now it's time for a little help our way, for the seniors. People suggested to me, applying for senior grants and assistance. Those assistance programs the thresholds are so low that if you're at that threshold, you couldn't afford to live. All of a sudden being cut from 2 Social Security checks to 1 and having to meet utility bills, taxes, insurance, upkeep of your home. I want to keep my home. I've been there too long. You know what I mean? It's home. But a 70% tax increase, I just can't do. I just can't afford it. It doesn't get any simpler than that. Maybe you should look at some particulars on situations that people are in before you pass the budget instead of just making it all-inclusive. I'm not saying, I know everybody's in a pinch. With the gas prices, with food, it's out of control. But 7% increase on the property taxes, can't do it. That's, and that's all I really wanted to say. If anybody has any suggestions how to maneuver, to help me maneuver around this situation, I am certainly all willing to listen. But approving, even 4% is going to be tough. Maybe you should look at the thresholds for where you can get an assistance. It's not like I haven't contributed my fair share. Okay, that's all.
Thank you. Next person, and again, I'm not going to butcher the second name, but it's David, and again, I'm just having trouble reading the last name.
Good evening. David Birch, 90 Beelzebub Road. Sorry about the handwriting.
That's okay. And if you could get it just a little closer to the microphone for people like me.
I will do my best. Firstly, thank you to the council for hearing my concerns in the past several weeks regarding our use of Flock. I appreciate you listening, asking questions, researching on your own. That's great to see. All I can ask is you come to your own conclusions in that. In our last meeting, a few times at least, the term was used that Flock is tracking people. I used it saying Flock is tracking people. Chief Lindstrom said, well, the ALPRs are not tracking people. So I thought that was something worth just tapping on for a couple minutes. ALPR technology, automated license plate readers, have been around for at least a couple decades. It's not new technology. They've been used at the entrances to universities to track who's coming and going. Employers use them to track employees coming and going. As long as it's done for a good reason, the data's handled properly, I'm not concerned about that. That's okay. If there's a good reason, sure, whatever. There are good uses for that. What Flock is doing is quite different. Now, I have to assume Chief Lindstrom was referencing those legacy ALPR systems that simply check who is passing a certain checkpoint, and that's all. But what Flock is doing is they're using a network of these scanners all across the public roadway so that you are getting scanned every 60, 90, 120 seconds as you drive down the road. Now, it is still reading your license plate, although it's also creating what they call their unique vehicle fingerprint. That's a registered trademark for some reason. But it's doing that every 90 seconds, or however often you drive past one of these scanners, with the purpose of not identifying you, but rather the purpose of knowing where you are, and then 90 seconds later knowing that now you're over here. 90 seconds later, you're over here. The idea would be to deploy them ultimately on every straightaway if they could, rather than just in a few places, because that would give them a very tight granularity. You're in this containment zone. We know that you're within this block of, 8 buildings. If I want to go across town, it's not that my vehicle is being scanned once, it's being scanned numerous times, and then they can aggregate this, so they can say, okay, he went to the area of 6 buildings, which includes an oncologist. Did he go to an oncologist? We don't know for sure. But then it also records me going every week to an infusion clinic. Well, now all this is being fed into Flock's AI, so now Flock AI is looking at this and saying, okay, you went to an infusion clinic, possibly. We have, a 40% certainty you went there. You went to possibly an infusion clinic, and you keep doing that. It can draw conclusions based on these and other data points pretty quickly, plus, it scrapes social media and collects that data, and it can decide, this person probably has cancer. Now, is it bothering to specifically aggregate health records? No, that's not Flock's stated purpose, but they draw conclusions on all of your activities based on those factors. It's not the one factor, it's all of the factors. The problem just becomes that I can't drive anywhere without Flock tracking that. If I go somewhere, that says something about me. Now, Flock recently started making actual judgment statements about a person's intentions based on its observations. That was about a year ago. So now we have Flock looking at my activity and not just logging it and making decisions about what I'm doing, but then also trying to make judgment calls about how likely it is I'm committing a crime, or I might be intending to commit a crime even. That I have a problem with. We don't have to just look at theoretical things, though. I mean, we have, you want to talk privacy invasion, here's a case where a lady was tracked down using Flock because she had an illegal abortion. Regardless of your stance on abortion, I don't think we should have a mass surveillance system which already has this information, and somebody just has to ask it after the fact where this person is and to track them down based on that. Thank you for your consideration and time.
Thank you very much. Mr. Poland. Ray?
My name is Ray Paul, and I live at 25 Mohegan Trail in South Windsor. I want to address a couple of recent events, unrelated, but with a common thread. At the March 18th Town Council Board of Ed Joint Budget Work Session, Councilor Paterna dismissed South Windsor's highest in the neighborhood Board of Ed approved budget increases over the last 2 budget cycles. His rationale was that the lower neighboring town Board of Ed increases were because of lower or no student enrollment increases, while at the same time, South Windsor had the highest enrollment increase in the state at approximately 22.4%. That paints a different picture for me, Paterna said. If true, South Windsor school enrollment would have increased by 1,100 students in the last 2 years. Now that was a head scratcher, since shortly before I stood here and told you that South Windsor's enrollment increased by only 34 students this year. So I checked out the Public School Information System October 1 annual enrollment reports. Over the last 2 budget cycles, South Windsor's K-12 student enrollment increased by 129 students, 95 plus 34. That's an increase of 2.6%, hardly the highest in the state. While the Board of Ed's approved budget increased, Board of Ed increased the highest budget in the neighborhood of 12.1%. I'll be kind and attribute those huge exaggerations to sloppiness with words and looseness with numbers, but I believe Councilor Paterno owes the town a retraction or surely an explanation. Furthermore, this places a cloud over the other numbers Councilor Paterno provided at that meeting. Then there's the Buckland Gateway Tax Abatement Resolution introduced by Councilor Paterno. The resolution failed to mention the abatement percentage, which was at the max 70% along with the max 7-year abatement years, the 2 key inputs for determining the abatement recovery period. He stated that companies paying reduced taxes initially generate returns 10 times over. Yet the South Windsor Tax Abatement Scorecard shows tax abatement companies paying only 1.5 times more taxes than abatements received. Should you approve a fiscal year 27 budget anywhere near the bloated ask, expect similar tax abatement requests from a dwindling list of non-residential developers. To paraphrase a time-proven political slogan, it's about the taxes, stupid. For the 7 and 7 abatement that you approved, it will take 12 years, 7 payout plus 5 payback from occupancy to recover the abatement, or around the year 2040. Had you negotiated more favorable abatement terms, say 3 years at 50%, the break even from occupancy would have been 4.5 years, 3 for payout, 1.5 for payback. In your rush to notch a score for the grand list, most likely you left taxpayer dollars on the table. Interesting how Councilor Paterno's sloppiness always advances his agenda. That was until the charter revision debacle. Well, many shared in my bad on this one. Councilor Paterno is at the head of the class. He was the instigator, the commissioner, chairman, and the referendum drafter of this needless charter revision. At last September's Town Council referendum approval meeting, I and several others sensed a problem with the referendum. I challenged its constitutionality and legality. Immediately following me was Andrew Paterno assuring all that the referendum was sound, all the I's dotted, all the T's crossed. Well, now it's been in the courts for over a half a year. Once that court decision is announced, I request that town manager provide a full accounting of the taxpayer dollars wasted on this debacle. A resident at the last meeting said that $59,000 had been spent by the end of March, and an estimated total tab would exceed $100,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else from the public that would like to speak to the council at this time? Why don't you come up?
Hello? Perfect. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Dan Edwards, 131 Hilton Drive. I am here tonight regarding agenda item 13C, discussion item, legal billing from Fishbein Law Firm. Similar to prior meetings, I am here respectfully requesting that any counselor with a connection to this matter recuse themselves from both discussion and voting, if applicable. Right now, there are 4 members of this council with close ties to this litigation and this item, one of which I know will recuse themselves. The other 2 of them will. The other 2 are former members of the Charter Review Commission and or the mayor at the time that the Charter Review Committee was implemented. This is not a criticism of anyone's integrity. It's about protecting the legitimacy of the process. When a counselor has a stake, real or perceived, in the outcome of a discussion item like 13C, it creates doubt about whether a decision is being made impartially. Even the appearance or influence can weaken public trust, and once that trust is shaken, it's difficult to restore. Recusal is not a mission of wrongdoing. It is a safeguard. It protects the counselors, it protects the decision, and it protects the community. Our ethics guidelines and the standards followed by municipalities across the state make it clear that stepping back when a conflict exists is the responsible and expected action. Item 13C is significant, and residents are paying attention. By choosing recusal where appropriate, this council demonstrates that transparency and fairness are more important than any individual's participation in a single vote. It shows that you value the credibility of this institution and the confidence of the people you serve. I urge those 3 former members of the Charter Review Commission, as well as the former mayor, to recuse themselves tonight. Recusal, where conflicts exist, will strengthen the outcome of item 13C and reinforce the trust our community places in this council. Thank you for your time and your commitment to ethical governance.
Thank you. Is there anybody else from the public that would like to speak to us at this time? Come on up. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Mark DeCiancia, a lifetime resident. I have a couple questions, maybe a little fuel for information for all of you. As you're all aware, June 26th, the assistant town manager retires. So my couple questions regarding that. Are we going to have a hiring freeze from July 1st of 2026 to June 30th of 2027? You know, do we really need another assistant town manager? I can think of 3 things. I'm not saying that we have to hire these people, but I can think of 3 things that are a little bit more important. First of all, I understand the South Windsor Police Department is at maximum staff right now of 47. Instead of being reactive, we should be proactive and maybe hire a police officer before we hire an assistant town manager. Because with things like retirement, getting out of that career, or 3, being on workman's comp, that would reduce overtime. We would be proactive on overtime for public safety in the police department. Number 2, I understand that we haven't increased the building fees for the building department since 2017. If we are going to increase the building permit fees, then the demands of having another building inspector increases the demand for the contractor or the homeowner. Because when you go up in a fee, people want instant gratification. Number three, I'm not saying we have to hire these people, but number three is we go through all this voting process for more land. Am I in favor of preserving land? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it takes maintainers to do that work of attaining the land in which we're voting on. So basically, we're just kicking the can down the road. I feel that I'd rather have a service-orientated staff than a thinking-bee-orientated staff. So at this point in time, if we're gonna hiring freeze, let's do it from July 1st of 2026 and end it June 30th of 2027. There's a lot of other communities that do not have assistant town managers that are a lot bigger than us. Granted, they have a personnel staff and they have other things. But my eyes, I think we could use 3 other positions that are a little bit more important than assistant town manager. Thank you for your time and the opportunity to speak.
Is there anybody else from the public that would like to speak at this time? Okay, seeing none. We moved up item 13E, I believe, to this point in the meeting. Councilor Cordero.
Page 7.
All right, resolution appointing a town attorney.
Microphone.
Thank you. Resolution appointing a town attorney. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council appoints Birchman Moses, P.C. to the position of town attorney for the town of South Windsor, and be further resolved that this appointment is in accordance to Chapter 5, Section 609 of the Town Charter, and in accordance with the terms agreed to by the town council.
All right, is there any questions, concerns? Councilor Cordero? No. Okay. All right, seeing none. All those in favor? Aye? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
No.
Any abstentions? Okay, roll call, please.
Counselor Olet?
Yes.
Counselor Pendleton?
Yes.
Counselor Cordero?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paterna?
Yes.
Mayor Zimmerman?
Yes.
Counselor Del Nicky?
No.
Counselor Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Counselor King? Yes. Counselor Balboni? All right, 2 noes and 7 yeses.
All right, thank you. And welcome to the lawyers from the Bircham firm. We are now up to item 8, adoption of minutes of previous meetings. Councilor Pendleton.
Thank you. May I ask who voted no, please, because I didn't hear the other no on the last vote?
That was Counselor Balboni and Counselor Del Nicky.
Thank you. Okay. This is the adoption of the minutes of the previous meeting. Approval of the March 16th, 2026 Town Council regular meeting.
Last paragraph where it starts Historical Society, it should be Niederwiffer Road, not Needlewiffer. And then I have total, that's the only small one. The other one's regarding, I have a move to amend the roll call. And I also have a change to the agenda item 17C, but before I make the motion to amend the minutes for that, I want to briefly clarify the need for the amendment. The executive session began at 9:04 p.m., which is when I received the call to join remotely. I do not know the specific time at which minutes of March 16th, 2026 meeting to accurately reflect the attendance and timing of the executive session under agenda item 17C, the original motory requirements. The amended minutes shall identify these additional attendees, specify the time at which they enter. That's my amendment.
Can I,
Mrs. Senator.
so I'm not opposed to, can I,
Mrs. Center.
so I'm not opposed to doing that, but I know that in executive sessions, and I don't, because, you know, I have done a little research on that in my own questioning of it, and there are some things that, specifically, for guests. So if that's not correct and I should be doing it, then, you know, I do want to make sure I'm doing it right.
Well, can we, since we just hired a town attorney, Mr. Maniscalco, can I suggest that maybe that's the first conversation you have with them?
Sure, we can do that.
Okay, so we don't have to debate that here, since none of us are experts. But thank you. And we probably need to do a little better job on our end, letting you know some of the details, since obviously Mrs. Seneth is not in the room. I know on the Board of Ed, the secretary for the Board of Ed, which is the third leading vote getter, the leading vote getter from the party that didn't win, that person, one of my jobs when I held that role, was to provide the secretary, the clerk of the Board of Ed with that kind of information. So we'll have to figure that out, because you would not know, because there's no tape of it or whatever. So we'll figure that out if we're not doing something correct. Councilor Dinucci, are you good? I'm going to go to Councilor King
Yes.
on this same issue,
Correct.
so we can vote on it.
I'm just moving that we table this until we have that information. So we have new information, so I just move that we table, since I seconded it, I move that we table it until we get the appropriate information.
Table it or postpone it to the next scheduled meeting?
Thank you for the clarification. We can postpone it till the next meeting, which I believe is on May 4th.
Yep.
It's tabled.
All right.
It's tabled because you're gathering more information
Yes.
to make the motion and the resolution correct.
And to include the right information, yes. All right, since it's table, we can't discuss it. All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, anybody opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so it's tabled till the next meeting. We are on 8B, Councilor Delnicki.
Thank you. Approval of March 18th, 2026 Town Council Board of Education Works Session Minutes. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby approves the minutes of the Town Council Board of Education Work Session Meeting of March 18th, 2026.
All right, any questions, concerns? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? And I'll just remind people to look at the clock. We got about 5 minutes before the first public hearing. We are up to item 8C. Councilor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Approval of the April 6, 2026 Town Council regular meeting minutes. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby approves the minutes of the regular Town Council meeting of April 6, 2026.
Second.
All right, any questions, concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. We are up to 8D. Councilor Balboni.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Approval of the April 8th, 2026 special budget work session minutes. Be resolved, the South Windsor Town Council hereby approves the minutes of the Town Council special budget work session meeting of April 8th, 2026.
Second.
All right, any questions, concerns? Councilor Roulette.
So I watched it, but I wasn't here. Am I voting or abstaining? I vote, okay.
Perfect, yep. All right, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. All right, so what I'm going to do is call for like a 4-minute adjournment, and we'll come back for the public hearing at 8. All right, thank you. Andy, can you? Yeah. I'm going to go wait in the line for the men's room.
Okay.
You cue it up.
Start this, yeah. right, good evening. I think we'll call the meeting back to order. We have a statement to be read by our clerk of the council.
To be published in the Journal Enquirer, March 19th, 2026, legal ad, Town of South Windsor. Notice is hereby given that the South Windsor Town Council has set Monday, April 20th, 2026, at 8 p.m. in the council chambers of the South Windsor Town Hall, 1540 Sullivan Ave, South Windsor, Connecticut, as the time and place for a public hearing to receive citizen input on the proposed general government budget for fiscal year 2026-2027. Dated at South Windsor, Connecticut, the 17th day of March 2026, attested to by Catherine Sareth, Executive Assistant Clerk of the Council.
Thank you. Is there anybody who would like to speak to the council at this time? Once you come on up, Mrs. Carey.
Thank you. Carolyn Carey, 215 Abbey Road, South Windsor, Connecticut. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Town Council members, Town Manager Maniscalco, and residents. Thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts. South Windsor is a wonderful town with great schools, and I'm really proud to live here. But that does not mean that I don't think we need to manage to a budget. Looking at the proposed budget is concerning. I'm sure the Finance Department is hearing complaints from residents now, as escrow adjustments are being sent by mortgage companies. Those adjustments are due to last year's approximately 3.66 tax increase. Your proposal is double that number. Based on April numbers, annual inflation in the United States is 3.3%. Social Security COLA for 2026 was 2.5%. The contracts for town employees in the Education Department that were multi-year and approved last year had annual increases of 3.0 to 3.5%. How can residents not go backwards financially with a 6 or 7% tax increase? I also want to remind you that at the end of the 24-25 school year, the Board of Education had a balance, a positive balance of $1.5 million of their allocated budget, which meant that they began the current school year, 25-26, with more money than they had requested. Just in case you were concerned about this number, it is in a May 27th memo. I did give a copy to the mayor. So the schools weren't below. They weren't below 2 years ago, and they weren't below last year. They were actually ahead. It's easy to say yes. The challenge is to find solutions that works for everyone, and this type of increase hurts South Windsor residents. Man spoke earlier, I volunteered doing taxes for ARP, and I will tell you the individuals cannot afford this type of tax increase. It's wrong. We all understand that taxes must go up. More than 2 times inflation, really? I wonder what % of our residents got 6 or 7% salary increases this year. Not only are you hurting the seniors, you're hurting people who only got 3 or 3.5 in the contracts that many of us approved last year. They're going backwards too. I encourage you to find solutions so that you can keep the taxes in South Windsor manageable while maintaining our good schools and services. It'll be a challenge, but you have a fiduciary responsibility to the residents of this town that elected you to meet that challenge. Thank you.
Is there anybody else from the public that would like to speak to the council? Come on up.
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity once again. My name is Mark DeCiencia, 39 Debbie Drive, lifetime resident. I guess, what is the definition of a need? Can anybody answer that question? What is the definition of a want? We don't have a revenue problem. We can generate money all day long in this community. We have a spending problem, and we've had a spending problem for 20 years. Doesn't matter if you're on the red team or if it doesn't matter if you're on the blue team. Come to South Windsor, we'll spend your money. Don't worry about it. Right now, we're in the chokehold of the state of Connecticut. We're giving tax rebates in this community. People can't afford that. We're busting at the seams in the schools. We're busting at the seams at the senior center. The roads are falling apart. I hate to say that term, and I don't like using that term. We're kicking the can down the road for somebody else to have a headache in 15 years. We've been kicking the can down the road for the last 20 years with the same headache. We do not know how to say no. We keep spending money. Not all of us have state pensions, okay? So we got to learn how to live within our means. And this community here has to start to realize that. I don't think the budget that we're asking is out of control, but it's got to stop. It's every year. In saying that, we do nothing but kick the can down the road. Well, let's see if we can put a little effort in it and step up to the plate and start seeing what we can do for the next fiscal year, because obviously we're just going to add more cans to the road. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak during the public hearing? Yep, on up.
I want to talk about taxes too. And maybe we're going at this, sorry.
Is it on?
Hit that microphone, Charles.
Okay,
Is
it's
it
got to
on?
get closer. Okay,
Oh, Charles Werner, 2 Berry Patch, South Windsor.
thank you.
Sorry. The gentleman was talking about property taxes and stuff like that, and I've had a thought for a long time. We tax property based on the value of the property. Why not as well tax the property based on the wealth of the people owning it? The more wealth they have, the more the property taxes should be. That way it would solve a lot of our problems as far as the seniors and the poor who can't afford them. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak to the public at this time? All right, so usually at a public hearing, what we would do is give you 3 questions. Hopefully you just vote once. What? I did it for the Board of Ed, so I'm gonna be consistent. You can say that you're in favor of a lower budget for the town, the same budget, or more. All right, so there's 3 choices. So who here would like to see the budget request for the overall town budget go down? And could somebody do the counting? Okay, so 11 going down. Who would like to see it at the 697? Okay, 1 person. And who would like to see it increase? So there's just some people that aren't voting. So 11 down, 1 the same, 0 up. Okay? All right, we're going to end the public hearing at 8:10 and go back to the regular meeting. And just a warning again, we have another public hearing at 8:30. So number 9 is communication from liaisons, officers, and boards directly responsible to the council. Seeing none. Reports from committees. Seeing none. Consent agenda. First read, Councilor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Have a motion to approve 11A1 through 11A2 as a first reading on the consent agenda.
Okay, we don't read that?
I thought we just read the second.
Right.
So a resolution, thank you very much for the clarification. A resolution appointing Paul Mackey as a member of the Public Building Commission, as well as a resolution appointing Steve Armstrong as an alternate member of the Patriotic Commission to replace the unexpired term of Rose Maturo.
All right. Any questions, concerns? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Councilor Delnicki, item 11B.
Yes, motion to approve 11B1 as a second reading on the consent agenda. Resolution appointing Deborah Mascone-Gaudet as a member of the Housing and Fair Rent Commission. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby appoints Deborah Mascone-Gaudet as a member of the Housing and Fair Rent Commission for a term ending November 30th, 2026.
Second.
All right. Any questions, concerns? Seeing none. All those in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. 11B2, Counselor Pendleton.
Motion to approve 11B2 through 11B4 as a second reading on the consent agenda. 11B2, resolution appointing Karen Myers as a member of the South Windsor Arts Commission. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Arts Commission hereby appoints Karen Myers as the member of the South Windsor Arts Commission for a term ending December 31, 2026. Item number B3 is resolution appointing William Myers as a member of the South Windsor Arts Commission. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Arts Commission hereby appoints William Myers as a member of the South Windsor Arts Commission for a term ending December 31, 2027. I'd like to ask right here, right now, before I move on, why is one 2026 and one is 2027, but they're both December 31st? Does anyone have an answer for me?
I believe that the terms, one is a 3-year, one's a 4-year, but they all end on December 31st.
Okay, no worries, as long as the year is correct. That's all I'm asking. And then the fourth one is, B4 is a resolution appointing Megan Rouliard as a alternate member of the Park and Rec Commission. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby appoints Megan Rouliard, an independent, as an alternate member of the Park and Rec Commission to replace the unexpired term of Ronak Alfroz for a term ending December 31, 2027.
Second.
All right, any questions, concerns?
I'd just like to make friendly changes.
Counselor Delnecke?
Yep, thank you. To 11B2 and 11B3, it's the South Windsor Town Council hereby appoints, not South Windsor Arts Commission appoints. Just a slight correction.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. Thank you. We are up to 12A, unfinished business. And just a reminder, since this will be a discussion item, we'll have to, put it on hold at 8:30. Either Councilor Cordero or Councilor King.
To combine Social Justice and Racial Equity Commission and the Human Relations Commission. As you see on the Exhibit C, there's a few items, some wording on page 1. Section 2-456, the consistent of 8 instead of 7.
Excuse me, Councilor Cordero, this is Councilor Delnecke. Can you move the microphone closer to you? Because I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Me too.
Sorry about that. Okay, is that better?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
I was trying to read it without hitting the paper. So section 2 of the front page, the first paragraph, establishing a consistency of 8 instead of 7 regular members and 2 alternates. And you see down to subsection 1, the commission shall consist of 8 instead of 7 regular members and 2 alternates. Those 2 changes there. And the bottom, the organization part, section 2-458. We're striking out the first part there, and say annually the commission shall elect from its membership a chairperson, vice chair, secretary, and other officers as deemed appropriate by the commission. And the next paragraph, we're also striking out at the first meeting on or after December 1st to annually. The commission will set a schedule of regular meetings to be held on a quarterly instead of monthly basis and may hold special meetings as determined by the commission. So those 2 changes are on page 1. You go to page 2. Going down to section 2-460, the duties, we're striking out subsection B, which is to collaborate the town manager or designee to ensue 2 hours minimum of diversity, equity, and inclusion training is offered for each town employee. We're striking that out. And the one after that, we're striking the part which says for the town. Instead it will say draft and adopt an action plan presented to town council to address REEG bias and disparity in the community. Then the next part there is instead of hosting, we're going to change it to recommend to the town council programs such as training sessions, community conversations, reading lists, and forums through a variety of media for all town residents that will help all members of the community enjoy equality of opportunity in all phases of the community life, including all community life, strike out including. Then the next part there, as you can see, we're striking out the critical self-reflection on, and just put in there eliminating racism, bias, and fulfilling interactions in the town's hiring process, and increasing diversity in employment through the recruitment and hiring process. And we're striking out the next two part there. And then going down to subsection F, we're striking out that whole part right there. And go to the next page, and that was it, I believe.
Councilor King, do you have anything before I go to Councilor Ouellette?
No, the only thing that I was going to suggest, not suggest, but just to say, just because we're changing it from a monthly meeting to a quarterly does not mean that the commission cannot have a special meeting.
Thank you. Councilor Ouellette.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mike Willett. Section 2, second page. Go down to what was C1, I think it is. So removing critical self-reflection on and just having the statement say eliminating racism, bias, and profiling interactions is an affirming statement that says there is racism, bias, and profiling interactions in the town's hiring process. It needs to have some precursor to strive to ensure we will eliminate, but just saying eliminating it says that there is, and I don't believe there is in this town.
Would you like to offer the words that you'd prefer?
Present or future, if it exists.
How about just instead of eliminating, ensure, just ensure.
Ensure? But how would you ensure a limit?
Or strive to ensure racism, bias, and profiling interactions do not exist in the town's hiring process.
Okay.
And this town will strive to increase diversity in employment through recruiting and hiring.
Perfect. Okay. Councilor Fitzgerald. Oh, I'm sorry, you done?
No, Mike's waving at me.
Oh,
So.
I just wanted to add in here, because first of all, I sat through the meeting with Councilor Cordero and King to do the review of this this ordinance and the combination of both. And the one thing that we did discuss with the town attorney at the time was the idea that, so there are very clear rules and roles that the town staff has, the town council has, and what board and commissions have. And in the old ordinances, there were some places where those rules and roles kind of were overstepped. And our concern was that, you know, it allowed certain ideas and things that really commissioners don't have the authority to do, or places they don't have the authority to go kind of go there. And it got things a little off track in some of their meetings. I think for whatever reason, I'm not really sure which number this is, because it seems like the number's stricken out for one, but yet the language is still there. I do think one was probably supposed to be stricken completely, because I agree, like the way it reads now is a little challenging, and it alludes to the idea that we have racism and bias in our hiring processes. And, you know, we follow a very strict process and protocol for how we do hire people to ensure those things don't happen. Now, that being said, that's a responsibility of staff and the internal job of our administration to make those things happen. And in the event that there was thought that that was happening, that's the job of the council then to step in and have oversight of that type of a scenario. But that's not something that we really have proof of something like that happening, and we have processes and protocols. I think putting something like that in for a commission to actually oversee can become kind of problematic.
So could I move to strike it then?
I would actually make that recommendation.
I would just move to strike that altogether.
All right, I'm going to go to Councilor Fitzgerald and then we'll go back and
Thank
make
you,
that
Mr. Mayor.
change, but go ahead.
I think I'm all set. I was just gonna ask if the word above that in what is, in C, where it says including, like, I just want to make sure, was the intention to like take including eliminating racism, blah, blah, blah? Was that the original intention?
I don't want to jump in. Yeah, sure. I think that was part of the intention, but I do think that number one is kind of not, I'm calling it number one, even though number one's striked out. I don't think that was supposed to be included. From my memory of our conversation, it was supposed to be, I believe it was supposed to actually end at community life, period. And the including was supposed to be eliminated as well.
So Councilor Lett, would it be a friendly amendment be get rid of the word including and then get rid of the entire bullet, number one?
It would, thank you.
All right, is there a second to that? Second. All right, any questions, concerns? All those in favor? Aye? Aye. Any opposed? All right, passes unanimously. All right, but now back to the basic document. Does anybody have any other questions? Mr. Maniscalco, we're about to vote on this, and then this thing had the last bullet, report annually to the town council. We have a number of other things that I saw where groups are supposed to be coming here, and I haven't been here, but I'm betting that very few have actually come. At some point when we get through the budget, if maybe whether we come with a work group or you ask somebody on your staff to try to put together a list of all the groups where their charge says, come to us with a report, we actually put together a list. I mean, I know I heard in the last one of our meetings, we currently have a town treasurer. That person could come before the council. But if you could put together a list, and then we could maybe, I don't even know if we have to approve it, but just as a reminder, because if it says it, I want them to actually do that.
Certainly. I think, the council's kind of undertaken this process of cleaning up a lot of the boards and commissions. If I remember correctly, there were around 40 some odd boards and commissions with all kinds of requirements out there. And I think it's so onerous at this point. A lot of our residents, even being involved, we're not able to carry that out. What I'd like to do is try to get all of these changes done and then go back through and get it all laid out, just like you're asking for, where we could set it up where they come back to you on a regular basis, so.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Paterno?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I want to say thank you to Councilor Cordero and Councilor King for the amount of work they put in this project. And I attended the last Social Justice and Racial Equity Commission, and I think what their biggest question was, are we simply eliminating the Human Relations Commission and moving some of those members onto social justice, or are we trying to merge both kind of mission statements into one? That's just going to tell you that would be their question. I don't know.
Councilor Cordero, Councilor King, any response before I go to Councilor
I believe now the intention is just to dissolve human relations and just proceed with social justice.
Okay.
The way to structure, I think social justice, the way it's structured and moving forward, it just better suits our community, I believe. It's just clear for them, and it's just more not an easier process, but it's just a cleaner process moving forward, I think, within our community.
Councilor Donicki? I'm sorry, Councilor King, did you have any?
The only thing I was going to add is that's the reason why we also increased the number from 7 to 8.
Okay, Councilor Donicki, my fault.
No, that's okay. I was thinking maybe we can get rid of G, the report annually to the town council. That's what we have, because that commission has a liaison, and that's the responsibility of the liaison under item number 9 to report back from a meeting. Instead of having, I mean, if they meet quarterly, each quarter you're going to get something.
Why don't we have that discussion when the town manager comes to us with the others? I personally would like to see a group like that come because they're doing presentations, they're bringing in speakers, they're supposed to be doing a whole bunch of outreach kind of stuff. I mean, just in case our person misses one of the quarterly meetings, I think having them come in once a year, because they also can tell us what's working, what's not, what additional assistance they might want from the council. But we can, let's put off, if we could. I mean, if you want to make an amendment and get rid of it, but I'd prefer to keep it for now.
Whatever, thank you.
The only thing I would add to that is this is one of the few commissions that actually has a budget as well. And so it would be good, just from a fiscal responsibility standpoint, just to have them come. I mean, obviously, Mr. Maniscalco will do what he needs to do, but in terms of having a budget, they should come before us and have that type of, what have you been doing with the money that we allocate to them? They're one of the few, but still, because they do, I think from a fiscal responsibility standpoint and transparency, it probably makes sense for them to come annually. But obviously, we'll wait for the report.
All right, looking at the clock.
I know the time. I'm going to be really quick. One request. Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Pendleton, go for it.
Mr. Maniscalco, if you could, at the end of all of these boards and commission changes, make sure that they appear on the town website, please. That's our breach to the residents of our community that want to help and participate with our community. To make sure, I started this 5.5 years ago, and make sure every board and commission is up to speed and up to date and up to all the wording, up to the members and up to the money, and make sure everything is done every single year. My request. Thank you.
All right. We good. We have a motion. We have a second. Although we have a second, right? Somebody. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any
Aye.
abstentions? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're just going to hold out for 30 seconds. Public hearing at 8:30. You gonna let me know? The Board of Ed, we would say it's 8:30 right now, but. All right, I'm going to call for the 8:30 public hearing. Mrs. Senator, if you could read the announcement.
To be published in the Journal-Inquirer, April 10th, 2026, legal ad, Town of South Windsor. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby sets Monday, April 20th, 2026 at 8:30 p.m. in the council chambers of the South Windsor Town Hall, 1540 Sullivan Ave, South Windsor, Connecticut, as the time and place for a public hearing to receive citizen input on the town's participation with the Connecticut Municipal Development Authority as a member municipality. Dated at South Windsor, Connecticut, this 8th day of April 2026, attested to by Catherine Senerth, Executive Assistant, Clerk of the Council.
Past practice, would it be okay to ask the town manager to kind of tell people what this is all about? Or am I breaking some major rule? Mr. Maniscalco.
I can do that, certainly. So essentially, the town has been looking at joining the capital, or the Connecticut Municipal Development Authority. It's a quasi-state agency set up by the state of Connecticut through Connecticut General Statutes, essentially with the goal of helping municipalities conduct redevelopment activities within their communities. And most particularly, they're an entity that will come in, they're going to take a look at both our zoning regulations and the way our community is set up. They're going to do some evaluations and determine kind of a zone within our community where they would be able to do work. And by work, what I mean is they would offer potentially low interest rate loans to local businesses and individuals looking to do developments, as well as it sounds like they may have some grant funding opportunities for municipalities to do infrastructure and other economic development projects within those areas. So it seems like it could open up a lot of opportunities. All their funding comes from the state of Connecticut, and that's kind of the process. I believe it's a 6-month window that we're probably going to be embarking on for that evaluation and review starting once you guys make your vote.
All right, is there anybody, thank you. Is there anybody from the public that would like to comment on our potential participation? All right. Seeing none, by a show of hands, who's in favor of us following through with this? All right. Do we have a number? 10. 10? Anybody against? No. Okay. All right, thank you. I'm going to close the hearing at 8:34. Thank you. We are up to item 12B. Councilor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution amending the appointment of Bridget Butler to the Social Justice and Racial Equity Commission. Whereas the Town Council previously appointed Bridget Butler as a regular member of the Social Justice and Racial Equity Commission, and whereas it was subsequently determined that no vacancy existed for a regular member position on the commission at the time of her appointment, and whereas the Town Council wishes to correct the appointment to ensure compliance with the established structure, membership categories, and vacancy requirements of the Commission, now therefore be it resolved that the appointment of Bridget Butler is hereby amended to designate her as an alternate member of the Social Justice and Racial Equity Commission, effective immediately, and be it further resolved that this correction is administrative in nature and ensures that the membership of the Social Justice and Racial Equity Commission remains compliant with all applicable requirements.
Thank you. Any questions, concerns? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Passes unanimously. Thank you. We are up to 12C. Councilor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A resolution amending the appointment of Diana McNeil to the Social Justice and Racial Equity Commission. Whereas Diana McNeil was appointed to the Social Justice and Racial Equity Commission on March 16, 2026, and whereas it was later determined that no vacancy existed on the Social Justice and Racial Equity Commission at the time of her appointment, and whereas the town wishes to correct the record to ensure all appointments comply with the established membership structure, terms, and vacancy requirements of the commission. Now therefore be it resolved that the resolution appointing Diana McNeil to the Social Justice and Racial Equity Commission on March 16, 2026 is hereby amended to reflect that no seat was available at the time of appointment, and be it further resolved that the appointment shall be deferred until a vacancy becomes available on the Social Justice and Racial Equity Commission, and be it further resolved that this amendment is solely administrative in nature and it does not preclude the Town Council from reconsidering Diana McNeil for appointment once an appropriate vacancy occurs.
Is there a second? All right, thank you. Any questions, concerns? All those in favor, aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. Thank you. 12D. Deputy Mayor Paterno.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a resolution appointing Peter R. Damali to the Central Regional Tourism District. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby appoints Peter R. Damali to the Central Regional Tourism District for a term ending September 1, 2028, and thanks him for his service.
Is there a second? Second. Councilor Roulette.
Is it appoints or reappoints? Because it says both.
It's Mr. Maniscalco, that should be reappoint, or?
I believe it's a reappointment.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it. Friendly amendment to have a change to reappoint.
Is there, oh, Mrs. Senath?
I believe that that term was expired. Right? I believe that term was expired, but that's why it was an appointment.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should just trust you. Yes. But it was a very good question. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Passes unanimously. 12E, Councilor Roulette.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution approving an amendment to the 2025-2026 through 2027-2028 job classification for non-bargaining unit employees. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby authorizes Town Manager Michael Maniscalco to amend the 2025-2026 through 2027-2028 job classification for non-bargaining unit employees of the Town of South Windsor by changing the title of Fire Marshal to Fire Marshal/Deputy Director of Emergency Management, Grade 7, and by adding the position of Deputy Fire Marshal, Grade 6.
Second.
Mr. Maniscalco, do you want to explain that?
Sure. So essentially what we're doing is we're adding a position, even though it's not funded, just to our list of positions to potentially be able to hire for in the future. And then also we're taking the Deputy Emergency Management Director responsibilities and adding that to the Fire Marshal's job, just to kind of update it related to our organizational structure.
Thank you. All right, Councilor Roulette.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mike Willett. If it's not a budgeted position, and we're in the middle of a budget crisis, why are we adding another headcount slot that now becomes an open position that essentially at some point has to be filled?
So we have a long list of positions that we could potentially hire for or not. The real question becomes, are they funded? So you're putting a position on a list that is not funded. The potential from the fire marshal, his thought was at some point we would want to possibly promote somebody into a position like that in the big picture of things, kind of looking at succession planning and how we would manage that department. So it wouldn't be that we're adding something to then add additional funds. We're adding, the classification, not the actual funding, if that makes sense. So it's a little slightly
Why
different.
wouldn't they just come back when we need to do that? This is just a definition of scope creep in the way that government works. So you add things, then it's going to come at mid-cycle. We need to fill them. Again, to Mark DeCiancia's point before, I think we struggle with the difference between need and want. When it becomes a need, then it comes to town council, and not until then.
Can I just ask the town manager, if we had somebody in a position, let's just hypothetically say assistant town manager, and we don't have either of the assistant town managers anymore, do we take that title away from some list that we have, or it's still there?
No, those titles still exist on those lists.
And I'm assuming that we probably have other positions that haven't been filled for a while where we currently have them out there. And this is just putting it out there. But to Councilor Roulette's point, I'm assuming that you wouldn't be able to fill that position until you come to us, or could you, to his point?
Well, which one, the assistant town manager or
the new?
The new one, no, I couldn't fill it because I don't have any funding for it. So it would have to come through a budget process, and I would have to,
Councilor Roulette.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Money is fungible, okay? So if there's a budget surplus somewhere like the Board of Ed found last year within the town budget, could you move money around from one department to another to satisfy that position?
No, I don't have the authority to move money from one department to another.
If there's extra budget within that department, could you fund that?
We could potentially promote somebody out of one job to that job, but there's not the ability to say, I'm trying to think what they would have in the fire marshal's. The fire marshal's budget's so small, you wouldn't even have the extra funds there to be able to do that.
I'm-
I'm just trying to think of what there would be to.
I'm talking about principal, so let's say it's a 20.
I know, I'm just trying to come up with an actual example. I don't
So if it's
think I have one in there.
If it's $20,000 over the current pay that you're moving somebody from, and they happen to have an extra $20,000, this is a convenient way to burn the 20 grand at the end of budget cycle when the position exists. It should only be brought to our attention when it is absolutely needed, and we can add the position at that point.
Mr. Mayor?
Deputy Mayor Paterno.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm assuming that even if you found money somewhere, you'd still have to come back to the council and say, this is what Plan A is. We have X number of dollars from this account. We have this position on the books. I'd like to move it and fill that position. So it still has to come back to us.
Right, so let's just talk, I mean, let's talk, there's two scenarios, right? So Counselor, let's talk about like a mid-year scenario where we've got some kind of savings somewhere that we can then use. Let's just say I did that and the number was $10,000. I took the $10,000, we apply it to that position, we hire them mid-year, they work through that period of time. When I bring you the budget, I'm gonna have to, one, fund it for a full year, right? So it's probably gonna be bigger than $10,000. Two, it's gonna be included in that budget and we'll highlight where that actually happened. So you would get the opportunity to see that and you'd do that. To date, I can't think of an instance where we've actually had a scenario where there's a job that's been approved in the job classification list that we've then funded with surplus funds, because I personally am looking at it as it's not a very good financial practice. I completely understand your point, but it's not something that I have very little ability to do it if I could, and it's just not a good practice to do.
Right. So I've spent 35 years in the private sector. In the private sector, we have discipline around things called position control, where not only do you get a dollar budget, but you get an individual position for a specific slot. You can only have so many head count. The scope creep comes where you have new head counts or a new position slot, you have extra money, and then before the end of the year, you burn it by promoting somebody within the budget, and now the next year, we have to start at the $10,000 or $20,000 higher. This is how we start putting constraints around the proliferation of government and scope creep with headcount. If they need a position that's net new, when they need it, they come to us and ask for it, and at that time, we determine, can we afford it, and is this position necessary, and we vote on it. I don't like giving a blank position control number in theory to any department.
All right, I just have one comment, and I'll go to Councilor Delnucci. Mr. Maniscalco, is there a reason why you're asking for this change now?
So the fire marshal has requested this change for his department. We are looking at probably having a retirement occur there in the not too distant future. The plan is to get some succession planning in place to be able to deal with that. Just to address one other point, I'm trying to look for the exact number, but in terms of employment scope creep, I think is what we're talking about. In the last 7 years I've been here, I think we've added 2 employees, and those have been through the budget process. So the data just doesn't play out to that.
It's not scope creep, it's increasing the person's job level without going through a formal budget process. It's taking somebody, give them an extra responsibility, give them a new job title, give them 10 grand, and then the next year, the starting point is 10 grand, when they're essentially doing the same duties that they may have done before. That's the control that we need to put in place.
Councilor Delnucci.
I'd like to defer to Councilor Pendleton because she's been waiting for a while, so I'll go after Councilor Pendleton.
Councilor Pendleton, my fault.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Before I even vote on any of this, I'd like to see the past history on the emergency management person that the town used to have, the Department of Emergency Management, why they were let go, how they were let go, how the position was deleted. It doesn't even exist anymore. And I'm sitting here with my head spinning, thinking, oh my goodness, I wish I stayed in the public sector. I could get a better paying job just by having a few other names put behind my name. I agree with Counselor Oulette, and I will be voting no on this. And I would like to see the extra information that I've asked for because the position has been deleted.
So can I?
Go ahead, Mr. Maniscalco.
Both of these positions have nothing to do with pay. The titles have nothing to do with pay. The town had an emergency management director back in 2017, 18 timeframe. He was not here when I got here in 2019. By the town charter, I'm the director of emergency management, and we need to have somebody who essentially can act as a backup or a deputy person or a point person. Typically, that's the fire marshal's office. In other communities, our assistant town manager at the time had done some of those responsibilities in conjunction with the fire marshal, but now that we don't have an assistant town manager, he's going to be taking on the rest of those responsibilities. That comes without any pay increase. So I'll say it one more time so everybody gets it very clear. No pay increase for those additional duties. He's taking that on as a kind gesture for the community that he's worked in for his entire career.
Then why was the budget discussed? Where he comes in, because he gets his pay grade, he gets $10,000 more, and then next year the budget starts, and he gets more money.
That was brought up as a different point related to the deputy position. That's also being requested by the fire marshal's office.
So you're saying it does not come with extra money, but he's saying, let's give him extra money.
So the deputy's position is not funded.
The deputy fire marshal is not funded.
There is no such thing as a deputy fire marshal at this time, and it's not funded.
Okay, continue.
Then why is it in a the emergency management responsibilities are being added to the fire marshal's job, and that has no dollar amount attached to it or increased dollar amount.
But it says we're adding to the position of deputy fire marshal.
No, we are adding a position to our classification list. That doesn't mean we're hiring it. It doesn't mean anything else. We have a classification list of a whole bunch of different positions that we have currently and have had and may have in the future.
And do we have to pay these people according to what the others are getting paid? Like we did a few years ago, we brought everybody up to speed in the pay grade.
So they all are given a grade when they're added to the classification list, and each grade has a pay scale associated with it. That being said, again, the deputy fire marshal's position that's being discussed in this resolution is not funded. So we would not be paying anybody or hiring anybody to fill that.
Okay.
The fire marshal's position is in its own grade. We're only adding on the responsibilities of deputy emergency management director to that position. That does not come with any additional funding.
So when he goes to retire, he's not going to have any additional funding for being the emergency manager?
No. He's already been doing it. It's a pretty standard thing to be done by a fire marshal.
Okay, so can we get the paperwork on all of that, please? Because from what I understand is the emergency management person was hired by us twice.
So we don't have an emergency management person and haven't had one since 2017.
Can I just cut in for a minute? As we speak here, it's 10 of 9. We have a bunch of town staff waiting to talk about the budget. Would somebody like to make a proposal that we just delay this one to the next meeting? I mean, if this was supposed to be a quick item, if it's not going to be, I'd rather discuss it on May 4th and let the town staff go home.
It's fine.
Can somebody do that?
It's fine. Make a motion to defer this till the next meeting on May 4th.
Second.
All right, sorry.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. 12F, Councilor Cordero.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilor Cordero. Hopefully this will be a little quicker. Resolution setting a public hearing to receive citizen input on the proposed amendments to ordinance number 241 to combine the Social Justice, Racial Equity Commission and the Human Relations Commission. Be resolved that South Windsor Town Council hereby sets Monday, April 20th, 2026 at 8:45 p.m. in the council chambers of the South Windsor Town Hall, 1540 Sylvan Avenue, South Windsor, Connecticut, as a time and place for public hearing to receive citizen input on the proposed amendments to ordinance number 241 to combine the Social Justice and Racial Equity Commission and the Human Relations Commission.
Second.
All right, any questions, concerns? Councilor Cordero, you're okay?
I'm good.
Councilor
Mayor?
Balboni?
Just a minor concern that this public hearing is supposed to happen 7 minutes ago.
Dates wrong.
Oh, so
April
the date's wrong.
20th,
So the date's wrong here?
8:45.
Yeah, it's unfinished business. It should be May 4th, and it should not be at 8:45. It should be at 8 o'clock. This was tabled from the last meeting, so.
Okay. All right, somebody
Say
want,
May 4th?
can somebody make, who's here, make a friendly amendment, May 4th at 8 o'clock? Councilor Cordero?
Make it, go ahead, let it rip.
Make a friendly amendment.
Can somebody else? Councilor Ouellette?
I'd like to make a friendly amendment to modify this to say hereby sets Monday, May 8th at 8 p.m. in the council chambers of the South Windsor Town Hall.
May 4th.
May 4th.
May 4th.
Oh, May 4th, sorry.
All right, is there a second to the friendly amendment? All right, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? All right, now on the motion, can we have a second to the amended? Thank you. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. And thank you for the pickup, Councilor Balboni. All right, we're up to 13, which is budget presentations. Mr. Maniscalco.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're going to start with Human Resources. Vanessa Perry, our Director of Human Resources. That's on tab 1, page 54. The Human Resources budget increased by 6.73%, or $25,861 due to salary increases, increased AED maintenance costs, and the restoring the tuition reimbursement that was removed in the prior year. I did do a reduction to the budget of $7,000 due to a credit from Anthem for their wellness program. The overall Human Resources budget represents an increase of $18,861 as a result.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Vanessa Perry, the Director of Human Resources. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay. Councilor Ouellette.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mike Willett. So if I go to page 54, so if I look at the bottom, just one quick, it looks like we have a 27% increase in W-2s prepared and I didn't add all the, 27% increase in W-2s from 23 to 24, and then it flatlines from there. Essentially, it's pretty flat. It's down 2, up 1, up 0. But if I flip back over to page 56, I'm seeing fairly significant increases of 279, 368, 384, 403. If we were flatline from 24 to 25 on number of W-2s, well, actually, we were down by 2%. Where did we come up with a budget of total expenditures, essentially, that went from 279 to 368? It's essentially all in full-time salaries. What was that attributed to?
Do you need the budget book?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you need the budget book? Or?
No, I haven't.
Top row of 56?
So we moved our payroll coordinator. She used to be in the finance department. We just moved her salary to human resources. So there's now 3 of us in the department.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, Councilor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hi. Would it be possible to get, because if it's in here, I haven't been able to find it, but would it be possible to get a list of the kind of the non-union managers that we have, their job titles, and then what their salaries were last year and what the proposed increases to their salaries are for this year and the percentage of those increases?
Sure.
I can answer part of that question here. So the non-union increases included in the budget are 3.5%.
But if we get that list, that would be great.
Is there anyone else?
Me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Counselor Pendleton.
Sorry, I just had to be silly there for a minute. Tonight's been a rough night. Okay, so hi, Vanessa. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you being here. I love the HR departments, but I guess my quick question is, you said that we took the assistant finance person and moved them down to HR or increased their, I'm all confused. Help me out, please, a little step at a time.
No, the
So where,
payroll.
how do we have 3 people?
Payroll coordinator person.
A payroll coordinator person, yep.
She used to be up in finance, but we moved
Yep.
her down and she's outside my office.
And is there a reason for that move structure, please?
Because she works more often with me than in finance.
Okay.
And for
Okay.
space purposes as well.
Okay. And so do we have a director of finance? She's just payroll upstairs, right? She's not a director?
Same corresponding year went down by 62, but your budget in HR went up by 89, so what are the other 27?
You're talking about the prior year, correct? I just want to make sure, because it's not in the proposed budget.
I'm going back to prior years. I'm just trying to
Okay.
figure out, like, I'm trying to figure out where the money went. That's all.
Got it, okay.
AED maintenance,
Correct.
Munis page 16, is in your category. So I'm just going to make a pitch again, publicly. And especially tomorrow, I have a meeting with the Housing Authority. I know the Housing Authority is separate from the town. Just so the public understands, unless it's been changed since I brought this up a couple times already, there's no AED machines at the senior housing in town. As somebody whose mom passed away with a heart attack, I don't fully understand why that is in the town that we have with the budget that we have. I understand that they're separate. This isn't a question really for you. It's a question kind of for all of us. Hopefully we can figure that out. We're putting up some AEDs. My AEDs are in schools, AEDs are in the parks, but AEDs, unless it's changed, are not outside the houses of 70, 80, and 90-year-olds. I'm missing something, so hopefully we can figure that out. Just a question to the group. Any other questions germane to your budget, really? All right, seeing nobody, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to the finance department. I know Patty Perry's here as well as our assessors here. I think we'd probably, so the finance department is on tab 1, page 71. We'll probably move on to the assessors portion of that budget first. You can find that on page 75. The assessor's office budget has changed by 5.14%, or $18,520 due to contractual salary increases. The other significant increase is $2,500 added to the professional contractual services for the migration of appraisal data to a new server, as the old one is nearing the end of the life.
Good evening. As Mike alluded, the majority of the change in the budget is due to the salary line items. I think the remaining increase is about, it's less than $4,000. It's $3,940, $25,000 of which is for a new server for the vision data to be migrated. Certainly happy to answer any budget questions that you might have.
Does anybody have any questions?
Just have one, Mr. Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Paterno.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know we're getting ready for another reval.
We are, for October 1st, 2027.
All right, she knows the date. So that money is being allocated. Where does it go in the budget?
That's in the CIP budget. That's one of the projects in the CIP.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just two quick questions. On page 74, we have the fees and memberships going from what we have of 2480 to what we approved, but then it's 4400, as well as the recruitment and training jumping up. So do we have people, is this a new item? Yeah.
We have people that are going through the certification process currently. We have an assessment technician who's moving through the classes. We have a senior assessment technician who is ready to take the certification exam, so it's part of the succession planning. And we also have state requirements for recertification that requires anybody who's currently certified to keep up with current statute and law and workshops. You're welcome.
Okay, not really budget related, but I had a question from a member of the public. There's a number of things that happen every X number of years that are like so important, like when we change the charter and stuff, that it's due extra effort. Reval would be on my list, probably slightly below the charter, but right there in things that we probably could, and this is not a negative comment to anybody who was in the process the last time, because it kind of is what it is. But now that we went through that, I guess my question is, did we learn anything? And you can come back the appropriate time. Tonight might not be the time, but you know, if we could maybe have a presentation and a really early discussion. But one thing that a member of the public asked me is, would it be possible for now, for let's say in the next year, like an off year, to do, I'm gonna call it a sample reval. You know, take a small number of properties and kind of just see what it looks like. He had all the data. You know, condos went up X, houses at this level went up Y, this went up, and there were like buckets, if you will. I'm guessing he got the information from you, and his question was, couldn't we tomorrow, next week, next month, 6 months from now, it might cost us a little money, but could we do something so we would be well ahead to let the public know, hey, we got reval, it's not gonna be, hopefully, it'll be after this council, but before the next, you know, it's gonna be, reval's coming, we don't think it's gonna be quite as bad. I mean, I think my condo went up for like 40% or something, and I was happy because it's actually worth something, but I understand.
Most of the condo owners were, but.
Yep, but you have to pay taxes, but at least it's worth more than I paid. Is it possible to do something like that? Is anybody, and you can come back and let us know, is something possible or other people doing anything? Because those of us who lived it, I mean, the people sitting up here, it went from 6-3 one way to 6-3 the other way for multiple reasons, but that was one of the big ones. Because the people that had 6-3 didn't explain it to the public because it was hard to explain. So just asking, but it's not really a budget issue.
It's a possibility. The only thing that I would say, the caveat is that we will, for the October 1, 2027, be using sales from October 1, 26 through 27. So, I mean, anything that we project would be based on year-old data.
Totally understand. They would, I think the public would understand, but at least if we could tell them it's not gonna be as bad.
Right, here's where we're trending currently.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it might also help planning, because
we can certainly look into that.
Councilor Delnicki.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in, Mary. Nice to see you. I noticed how the recruitment, the fees and membership and maintenance contracts, those were flat from last year. But the professional line, what is that? That's a 2,500 increase.
That's where we put the 2,500 for the new IT server. So the vision, apparently the data where the vision information and software is held within the town is nearing end of life. And there was a discussion between the former IT director and our department as to where that should be. And apparently that's something that IT is moving towards. It is a virtual server housed on-prem, is my understanding.
That's the vision appraisal thing, right?
Correct.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Councilor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to quickly follow up, how close to the end of life is that system?
My understanding is that as long as this budget funding gets approved, it will be done this coming summer. So very close would be my understanding of the conversation that took place.
But when's, like, if it weren't replaced this year, like, how much longer could it last?
I'm
Just
sorry, I
out of
don't have that data.
Curiosity.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how long it would last, but knowing the individuals involved, I'm guessing if they're saying it needs to be replaced, it probably needs to be replaced, particularly given the age of other equipment we have.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I think we're good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we can move forward to the collector of revenue, which would be page 80.
Mr. Maniscalco, since Mrs. Perry didn't have any questions, can I just, on behalf of the council, I know the budget process isn't done, but I met with the seniors along with the town manager and the deputy mayor a few days ago, and I brought the book with me, and I just wanted to do a little show and tell, and I want to thank you for all the detail. I mean, if we don't get the budget right this year, it's because some of the numbers are difficult and our decisions, but it's not because you didn't provide us with all the information possible. So thank you. And I know town staff also was involved. Thank you.
You're
Mr.
welcome.
Maniscalco.
So moving on to the collector of revenue, page 80. The collector of revenue's budget is increasing by 3.73% or $9,645, and I know Jennifer's here to answer any questions.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Helinski Shirley, the Collector of Revenue. Our office is composed of myself, 2 full-time clerks, and 1 part-time clerk. As Mike said, our budget increased by 3.73%. This is primarily due to contractual salary adjustments and ongoing education expenses necessary to certify our staff, as well as to maintain my certification. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have regarding the budget.
Councilor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I see that we have the part-time wages going up to 21 grand, which I get. It's one person. I guess my question is in regards to the line item for recruitment and training. How is, I think I saw a note in regards to tuition reimbursement. Is that what that involves as well?
Yes, as well.
Okay. How is that figured out from a percentage standpoint? How did you come to that number for 4 grand?
Well, it's a flat rate that's included in the town's HR policy.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Me.
Oh, Councilor Pendleton.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer, for being here this evening. I'd just like to say I think you do a fabulous job, especially when it comes to numbers. Not all of us like numbers, and I think you do a great job at it. And I just want to say thank you to you and your staff for all the hard work they do.
Thank you.
Mr. Maniscalco, I don't know, if we wanted to talk about tax stabilization, where would that be? When should that?
I think tax stabilization is going to be under that's a revenue source, so that would be under the revenue.
Okay. I mean, I want to be fair to the dialogue. Can you maybe just explain the change that was made the program that was set up a number of years ago to have tax stabilization at 500,000 and what the intent was, and then what happened when it was increased? And if I understand correctly, 2 years ago, $3 million was put in the budget as kind of like a balance, if you will. And then during the year, you and staff were able to either collect more revenue or spend less money. And we actually didn't use, or we used very little, if nothing, of the $3 million. But, and I tried to allude to it in my comments at the beginning of the meeting, but the $3 million in this year's budget, about $2 million of that, give or take, at the end of the year is gone. Savings is gone because we didn't have the high enough tax rate for our real expenses. Can you just talk about that for a couple minutes? We'll do that in a week or two when we actually debate the budget, but maybe we should have a little discussion now.
Historically, I'm not quite sure when the stabilization fund was started, but it was prior to myself. It was started with a total amount of $500,000 could be used, and then the fund, I believe, could go up to $3 million. Over that period of time, that fund had actually grown to that $3 million mark, and the monies that go into that fund at the end of the fiscal year, the first thing we're required to do is take any surplus funds at the end of that year, and they go into that fund. Those surplus funds are coming from savings that we may have, position vacancies, and better than projected revenues. So those are the three sources where those surplus funds are coming from. And the first thing we do is we fund that, the tax stabilization fund up to the amount. So I think it was 2 years ago, we came in, we were in our budget meetings, it was decided by the council they wanted to actually increase the use of that because we had actually saved above and beyond the $3 million amount, and we had actually saved up to $6 million in that fund. So the ordinance was changed to allow the town to use up to $3 million, and the fund total balance could be up to $6 million. In the proposed budget, we're proposing to use $3 million. In last year's budget, I believe we used 2.5. The way we're currently trending with spending this year, we will probably, in past years, we haven't had to dip into the actual use of tax stabilization funds at the end of the year because we ran a surplus. The way this year is trending, we're projecting possibly using upwards of $1.8 million. So overall, at the end of the year, we won't have as much money in that fund. We'll still have enough within the fund to be able to replenish and go forward with $3 million, but at a certain point that will run out.
Okay. All right, I think we're
Okay,
we're
so
good.
moving on to, we've got the finance department, which would be page 84. And Patty Perry is here to talk to us about that. Her overall budget request is 5.92%, or $22,837, due primarily to contractual salary increases.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to, kind of recap the finance office, kind of rounds out the whole finance division along with the collector and assessor. In the finance office, there are 4 full-time people. We take care of all the accounts payable. We track all grants, track all the revenues. We help the town manager do the budget and bonding, and we also produce the annual audit. And I believe Mike, the town manager, had said our budget increase this year is $22,837. That's primarily due to salary increases, and we did a little bit of moving around. We decreased operating materials, and we moved a little bit into recruitment and training, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And just a reminder, if people have page numbers, Councilor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the recruitment and training, I see that it's 1,500, and then if I look on the munis page 30, it's for conference, it looks like?
It's for conferences and for staff to just do professional development.
So do we have somebody that, there's a conference specifically that somebody's going to, or?
It's usually more day meetings or quarterly meetings.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing no one, thank you.
I have one more.
Okay.
Yep, so we're going to move on to tab 1, page 86, which would be central services.
So we also help manage the central services division. This is basically, office supplies, rental and leases, things like that. There are 2 full-time staff, and the budget is going up, I believe, $8,412.
Councilor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only question I have is the difference on page 86 in the 2 positions, the difference between the administrative secretary and a confidential secretary.
Do you want me, so the administrative secretary and confidential secretary typically handles exempt materials from individuals who are in a collective bargaining unit, whereas the administrative secretary is handling people, information that's essentially open to the public, and mostly answering phones, answering emails, things of that nature from the public, and communications from the public. I also think the administrative secretary is also taking some meeting minutes for I want to say it's inland wetlands, but I could be wrong in that. It's one of our boards and commissions. They do some meeting minutes as well. That's a unionized position. The confidential secretary is not a unionized position, so they're handling confidential material within my office, confidential material within the HR office, as well as I believe that position is partially, the funding for that is partially shared with the health department and the building facilities department. So she's handling information for both of those as well.
Thank you. Councilor Roulette.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So on page 33 on the Munis workbook, page 33, this is kind of a housekeeping item. If we moved the payroll person from finance to HR, we should also move line 320, paychecks processing fees, and the W-2, that's the payroll system. Should that budget be moved over to HR since it goes with the person?
So that paychecks fees encompasses the whole town. So we figured it made more sense to be in central services, which is not one department specific.
But
so even when the payroll person was in the finance office, we kept all the payroll processing costs in central services. I mean, we could move it if we wanted to. I mean, it's just semantics. The budget's going to be the same whether it's in one department or the other.
Agreed. Second question, when's the last time we took that to bid?
We are actually in the process right now of doing an RFP for payroll.
Appreciate it.
All right, I just have one quick question on Munis, page 33. I think I know it, but the Wapping Church parking agreement, what is that?
We have an agreement with the church that the library patrons can use some of that parking area, so we have a contract with them.
Okay. Mr. Maniscalco, do we have a comparable thing with the church on Ellington for Pleasant Valley School? Do you know?
If there is, it's between the school. Okay. Yeah, okay. That's not.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to what are we? Still tab 1, page 95, the town attorney's budget. We've proposed no change for the town attorney's budget line item. That's $240,000.
And I know you started this budget months ago. Given everything that's transpired, tonight we hired a new town attorney. This budget dollar item is still good?
I believe it should be still good. We are on track for probably spending that at this point. And we've spent that much in previous years, so it's kind of standard where we are. The professional account has increased by $7,100 due to the audit fees. Fees and memberships increased by $435 for chamber events.
Chamber events with the $45,000 for fees and memberships. Chamber events with the $45,000 for fees and memberships.
So we've seen that some members of the council have wanted to go to some of their events for the chamber, and sometimes they charge,
So. Okay, it includes CROG, CCM. Okay, all right. Thanks.
Councilor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This isn't necessarily specific to the town council budget, but in all of the budgets that we've been looking at in this section tonight, that advertising costs have gone up. Where do we just advertise in the JI?
No, so it depends on the department you're looking at, but in certain departments we do both the JI as well as the Hartford Current, which is kind of a requirement in order to advertise RFPs and things of that nature. Also your legal advertisements associated with your public hearings have to go in the Hartford Current as well as the JI. In some instances, like the HR department, their advertising fees are associated with, there's certain job boards they have to announce on, minority job boards and other professional services job boards that they're doing their announcements on and advertising on as well. So it depends on which department, but like everything across the board, we have seen cost increases just about every single place we can find. And unfortunately, we're kind of required to do a lot of those advertisings.
Yeah. Is the advertising, it's required by, is it state law that's requiring that?
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Councilor Pendleton.
Thank you. Mr. Maniscalco, you had mentioned that the EDC might be billing the town clerk, the town council accounts for their chamber events that they have sometimes at night at a restaurant, and we pay for it and so on and so forth. It comes out of our council budget. Is there any way that we can make up a guideline as to which items of the boards and commissions can be pulled from the council budget, please? Meaning if it's a dinner or if it's a whatever it may be, but if we come up with some type of a logical makes sense type of a guideline that EDC can put in through the council as opposed through themselves. Is there a way that we can do that so we can make a stricter, let's not throw it on one of our budgets?
Sure, I can take a look. Like I said, I'm not positive they actually came out of yours, but I think it may have. I just need to go back and check the expenditures.
Okay. And I do believe that I started the tax stabilization fund in 2013.
Okay.
Check it out.
Sounds good.
All right, I think we're good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on to the next one under tab 1, page 50, town manager's budget. This is my budget. Overall, the town manager's budget increased 3.47% or $10,490 due to salary increases and higher advertising costs. As I said before, all the non-union increases are budgeted at 3.5%, and like we discussed, advertising costs associated with both online and paper advertising has all gone up.
Councilor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So what advertising does your office do that's different from the town council advertising line?
Do you have some of the advertising examples that you've had to use that for?
Most of the public hearings, I think it's more RFP stuff that would come out of, like legal notices for that would come out of town manager. But the public hearings for the town council comes out of town council.
Okay.
So like your legal RFP for your town attorney would be a good example.
Okay, thank you.
Is Councilor Delnicky.
Thank you. This is one of my pet peeves, is the newspaper subscriptions. I know you guys, you gotta have your public notices, you gotta have a copy like we do on our public hearings, but I know electronically you can get them and print them out. Is there any way to get an online subscription which would be cheaper and then print out that legal notice? Because I know you can go online and print out legal notices.
I believe that's what we have.
Instead of having a physical newspaper.
Right.
I'm not positive, but I think the issue is when you have an online subscription, it's only one person that can use it. So if there are multiple people, running legal ads, it would kind of fall on one person to find all those ads for everyone else who's running them, rather than just get a paper and make a copy and send it to the department that put it in the paper.
Okay, well, I have a suggestion. If anybody's out there and doesn't like the idea of these subscriptions, is there's a bill right now that's going to be in the Senate where they may not take it up, is where we don't have to advertise legal notices in the paper anymore. It passed in the House, and the Senate may not take it up, but that will help save us, where you just have to put it on our website, in the clerk's office, and out on the board. So if anybody wants to help save the town money on subscriptions, urge your senator to vote yes on the bill if it comes to the floor. Thank you.
I believe that's been attempted to be changed for close to a decade at this point, if not more. It would be nice if they did.
Councilor Fitzgerald.
Thank you. I was just going to say, one way to get around the whole, one subscription per person is just create a dummy account and share the password. And then more people can look at it. And if you have a subscription online to the Hartford Current, they have an online edition of the Current that is the paper version of the Current, but online, so you can flip through the pages and go to the page where where the legal notices are, and just kind of clip it that way instead of going through the online version of it. So, just a suggestion.
All right, I think we're good.
We have one more, Mr. Mayor. Boards and commissions, which would be tab 1, page 13. Overall, your boards and commissions budgets stayed the same except for the South Windsor Patriotic Commission, which was a 68.78% increase. The overall increase is actually 25.86% as a result. That increase is due to the increased cost of fireworks as a result of their recently going out to bid. So they entered into a 3-year contract where the price of fireworks actually, I believe it doubled this last year. And I will remind you, it's the 250th anniversary of our country, so.
And I know we talked about this today. I'm having trouble finding the number, but it went from, did it go from 18 to 30?
I think it was 17 to 30, 17 something, 17,775.
And they signed I think you said they signed a 3-year contract for fireworks, assuming that we budget it, but that 12,000 increase is a yearly?
I believe it's 30,000 this year. There may be an increase in the following 2 years, but it's minimal in comparison, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Okay. Councilor Fitzgerald.
Thank you. I don't know if it's in here because I didn't write the page down, but is economic development in the boards and commissions section, or?
Yes, it is.
Page
Their
14?
total budget's $1,750. And I believe that pays for their meeting minutes to be taken.
Okay, maybe that was a different, is there a different economic development line in here?
There's probably an overview in one of them.
There's one in here, sorry, I can't
That's
place it right now, but it's for $15,000.
Right, so that's our requirement by the state of Connecticut to house tiger beetles. So that's a different scenario. Historically, the town of South Windsor, in working with developers as well as the State Department of Environmental and Energy and Environmental Protection, sorry, I got that backwards. During that development of a few of the different properties within our community, it was identified that they had tiger beetles on them. So tiger beetles are not visible by the naked eye. They hibernate a good portion of the year, except for 2 separate times. They're considered an endangered species in Connecticut, but not in the rest of the country. And the state DEEP has determined that as a result, the way to mitigate them so that we could do developments in those areas was to rehouse them to a piece of property that the town owns. And as a result of rehousing the tiger beetles, we are required by them to include funding within our budget to maintain that property in its state that it was at that time. Tiger beetles need to be housed on sandy property with no vegetation. Now, if anybody has had a piece of property with no vegetation on it, what grows there? Vegetation. So annually, every year, the town staff go out for the $15,000. They remove the vegetation and keep our tiger beetles happy. That's probably more than you wanted to know.
Do you have to get, do you need to get little mini AED, things in case
Just in case there's one.
to the invisible tiger beetles? Just kidding.
you good?
I'm good.
Hard to get those little towels too,
Oh.
when they take a shower.
Mr. Maniscalco, can you just one more time, because we talked about this, tell us what the yearly total is, and can you give us the approximate years that we've had to pay this amount?
It's $15,000. It's been in the budget since before I got here. It was associated with the Coca-Cola development, I think maybe the FedEx development, the Home Depot for sure. I think that's
So
it.
would be, to the people that have been here for a while, are we talking more than 10 years, give or take?
Approximately around there,
So
maybe a bit more.
we've paid approximately $150,000. I'm not going to comment. Okay. All right, I think we're good. All right, we are up to 13B, which is discussion item, Councilor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You guys all have in your packet, we actually heard from Mr. Wagner earlier in regards to making this move. Obviously, this was to be discussed before, but we're discussing it now. And basically, we're just making a change, as we talked about, going from 7 to 5 regular members and 2 alternatives, which will lower the quorum that they need instead of 7 to 4. So they'll have 5 regular, 2 electors, and we already have a liaison, so the only point that I'll probably make is the fact that we don't need to have a town councilor on this because we already have a liaison for that. So we don't need to be listed as one of the members. So they already currently have the membership that they need if we just lower it from 12 to 5, or to 7, excuse me, which would be 5 regular members and 2 alternatives.
Councilor Cordero, it's too long of a meeting, I apologize.
So, right on the first point, the Energy Committee membership shall consist of 5 regular members and 2 alternates appointed by the mayor. Is there a reason why we can't just have the alternates have each party nominate one instead of the mayor? So that we ensure
Correct.
that there's balance.
Right, we can write that differently because it wouldn't be appointed necessarily by the mayor. It would come through the same
Nominated by the mayor, nominated by each party.
Exactly.
And
then confirmed by the council.
Yep.
Correct.
Will you ask that question about the alternates? Is there a reason why the mayor does the 5? I mean, shouldn't it just be with the parties? What makes this different?
That's what he said.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Couldn't hear that part, my fault. Deputy Mayor Paterno.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it is different. This is a committee of the town council. This is not a board or commission where the parties nominate someone. So this is a committee of the town council. So the mayor, with the approval of all the councilors, should make the appointments, both full-time members and alternate members.
But we could if we wanted to.
Yeah, we do it, right.
No, but we could if we wanted to change that to say that this is no different than, and just let the parties take care of it. I mean, so at one point the council had that option, or did they not? Is there some legality?
Mr. Mayor, I don't think you could change it. This is a committee of the town council. You can't add it to the boards and commissions. It's not part of the charter. It's not part of the structure of the charter for boards and commissions. This is our committee. And the reason that the council wanted to keep it as our committee in the sense that the Energy Committee was looking at the full scope of what's good for the town. It had no particular point of view about what should be or shouldn't be. Never was political. So I think we should keep it as it is, as a town council committee.
Okay, I'll give up. Councilor King.
No, that's fine. At the end of the day, it is, because they're going to make their recommendations, and obviously we'll take their recommendations, just like we're doing tonight. So, but the big issue, obviously, is changing it from the 12 to the 7. That's the main takeaway, walk away, with 5 regular and 2 electors, so that they can have their quorum of only 4 instead of having 7 for a quorum.
So what would the next step be, since the point was made correctly, and I apologize, we've missed this and we've delayed it by a month or 2. What's the next step? Do we have to have a hearing, or do we just have a vote next meeting? So this can be a vote on May 4th?
Right, so it's a committee formed by the council, so it's formed by resolution. You guys could pass a resolution to modify it however you want at your next meeting. I don't believe you even need to have a public hearing. You could just do it. Yeah, it's yours.
So what I would suggest to the council through you, Mr. Mayor, is that we just have our new town attorney just write up the resolution that we need, or however the resolution needs to be, just to make sure that we have the wording correctly. And then we voted on it at our May 4th meeting to move forward, and then you're able to have their meeting on May 12th.
All right, but also as part of that, on May 4th, we're gonna actually decide the people. So we'll have a motion to make the changes, and then we'll have a motion to appoint the new people, the old people, so they can actually meet on the 12th, or whatever the date is.
Yes.
That can both be done on the 4th? And that both will be done on the 4th?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. We are up to 13C, Mr. Maniscalco.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So in your packets, you could see we received an email from Fishbein Law Firm requesting us to pay them, I believe it's $11,000.
Can I just interrupt you for a minute? If there's anybody that did want to recuse themselves, and I am not, but if anybody wants to, this is probably the time to.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to recuse myself.
Yep, and we'll go get you if there's anybody else.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to recuse myself.
All right.
And Mr. Mayor, I have to recuse myself from this.
Okay. And I guess I'm going to turn to you, Mr. Maniscalco, for a minute, but what? Somebody else. Just for the public, I don't even think I should have to, but just for the public, I am not recusing myself because I was on the Charter Revision Commission for 2 meetings. We never met anybody. We never voted on anything. I was actually, I'm not going to say booted off, but dropped off because there was a mix-up in how many people were on and how many people were elected officials, whatever. We don't need to like reinvent that. But the bottom line is I didn't do anything for charter revision, so I am not recusing myself. If the same person wants to come back next meeting, he can. I'll turn to you.
Thank you. So we received this bill from Fishbein Law Firm for their representation of Mr. Balboni through the Harrison and Madison lawsuit versus the town. You know, this is not something the town contracted for. I was made aware from Mr. Balboni this was something he was looking for. I provided him some letters from the town's insurance company related to insurance coverage. And I believe they actually spoke with Attorney Fishbein and essentially kind of passed the buck back to us, saying that it's up to the town to make a decision whether we wanted to pay it or not. Typically, you know, if I had retained the attorney, we would have paid it already, but seeing as I didn't reach out, I didn't, you know, request this, nor did I, you know, have any approval of it at this point. You know, I'm looking for some guidance from all of you.
And I will open it up for discussion. And I just want to clarify something. I said I missed 2 meetings, or attended 2 meetings. It might have been 3 or something, but again, nothing was discussed, nothing was decided. Would anybody like to comment?
I guess I will.
Councilor Delnicky.
Why Councilor Balboni was named as a defendant is beyond me. I understand his position is there due to the charter change, so it's not his seat to relinquish because the charter, as defined after the election, is a Republican seat. So if he vacated that seat, the replacement would have to be a Republican due to the charter effective date. So due to this not being Councilor Balboni's fault, because he was thrown in as a defendant, because it's the seat that's in question, and I understand the suit being brought against the town clerk because they don't agree with her interpretation of the charter. So I feel that we, as a town council, were obligated to pay this invoice of $11,400.
Oh, Councilor Lett. Thank you.
Thank you. So Connecticut General Statute 7-101A provides that a municipality shall protect and indemnify any municipal officer or employee from financial loss and expense, including legal fees arising out of any claim, demand, suit, or judgment by reason of alleged negligence or other acts resulting in damage, provided that such acts occurred in the discharge of official duties and were not wanton, reckless, or malicious. He is fully protected by Connecticut General Statute 7-101A. He is an elected official. He did nothing that would qualify as wanton, reckless, or malicious, and therefore we are legally obligated to pay this.
Just for me, can you read the part about in their elected duties or something, that part?
I'll read the whole thing again.
Yep.
CGS 7-101A provides that a municipality shall protect and indemnify any municipal officer or employee from financial loss and expense, including legal fees, arising out of any claim, demand, suit, or judgment by reason of alleged negligence or other acts resulting in damage, provided such acts occurred in the discharge of official duties and were not wanton, reckless, or malicious.
No. Councilor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I mean, I would be interested in hearing an attorney's interpretation of when this act occurred, because it occurred at the election. So he was citizen Rick Balboni running for an office, and it was that whole process where this took place. So I'm not sure if he's being sued because of his official position. But that being said, the one question that I have is this: if the town was going to indemnify him and cover him, then why, like, he went out and got his own attorney and paid for it? Like, it was not something that was authorized by the town. It's not the town attorney representing him, which, I mean, the town attorney was already representing the town. The town was already a party to this. So why didn't he, you know, why wasn't he allowed to just hook on with the town attorney? But he went out and got his own attorney without running it through the town manager or us. So it's, you know, kind of an
Because your party.
I'm not done talking.
Okay.
So it's an unapproved expense. So, and our party is another party to this, and our party is paying for our attorney. We're not asking the town to pay for it. So, but Mr. Maniscalco, I don't know if you have any
I wanted to say, like, so there was, hey, I need an attorney. I want to get an attorney. We sent it to the insurance company to see if they were covering that portion of it. The town attorney said he could not represent Rick in the lawsuit because it would have been a conflict, since it was, I'm trying to quote him, but don't hold me to this because I'm not 100% sure I'm quoting him correctly, but he said it was a lawsuit against Rick Balboni. He was a named member of, or party in that lawsuit, and not Rick Balboni as a party in the town. So, you know, the town attorney had a responsibility to represent the town, and specifically the town clerk. I think his feeling was that that would have been a conflict to represent Rick as well.
Do you have anything in writing on that between you and the former
I
town
didn't
attorney?
get that far because I received a request, and then I got an email, I believe it was from Rick, saying I withdraw this request, which I sent on to, I think it was the mayor and Councilor Dilnicki and Councilor Paterna at the time, and then that was kind of where it fell. And then we received the bill, so.
But the town attorney, your interpretation of the town attorney's interpretation
His
was
verbal
that,
communication to me was that, hey, this is where this is probably going to land. I can't, and I believe he had communications with Councilor Balboni as well to that effect.
but just to clarify, you said, the town attorney said that part of the conflict of interest was that Rick was on this as private citizen.
He's a third named entity in the lawsuit. You know, I guess the question really comes down, is he being sued as Councilor Balboni or being sued as Rick Balboni? And I don't know that answer, to be very frank.
All right, thank you.
Councilor Roulette.
All right. He was enjoined in this lawsuit because your party, or a Madison's lawyer, named him as a defendant. They didn't name him as a defendant because he was a private citizen. They named him as a defendant because he was placed into the elected seat as a result of the interpretation of the election, which has still not been decided. If it had been Carolyn Carey or somebody else that was on the ballot, and she was sued, the town would have no responsibility in this under Connecticut General Statute 7-101. But because he was sued because he was put into the seat, whether you agree with it or not, he was put into that seat as an elected official, he becomes indemnified because he is right now an elected official. Full stop.
Councilor Pendleton.
Thank you. Councilor Roulette, you mentioned two positions, one of them being an officer and something else?
You can look it up yourself. It's Connecticut General Statute 7-101A. I'll read it again. Connecticut General Statute 7-101A provides that a municipality shall protect and indemnify any municipal officer, employee from financial loss and expense, including legal fees arising out of any claim, demand, suit, or judgment by reason of alleged negligence or other acts resulting in damage, provided such
Okay,
acts.
no, that's fine. Thank you. That's fine. Thank you. You're fine. You don't have to read the whole thing. My point being is that we are not officers of our town. Mr. Maniscalco is an officer of our town. We are elected officials. That is it. We are not officers. We are not financial people. We are volunteers and strictly volunteers. We have no authority other than what we do at a town council meeting. So as far as officer goes, or as far as financial goes, I don't believe that we fit that definition of those people of the Connecticut General State Statute 101A. I don't believe we meet that. I would hope to have a definition of those positions that you're calling out on being an official and a financial person, because we're not an official. We're an elected person. So I would suggest you find us a definition on those before you use that up against us. As far as I'm concerned, because I'm on the council right along with Mr. Balboni, I am a citizen. Midnight to when the election is finished, I'm a citizen. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm on the council until we have to look at that little frame there, but we're on the council until midnight maybe, and then we become reelected as a citizen to an elected official. So we need to figure out that time frame. because I was a citizen, and that's what happens when you run for an elected position, is you're a citizen. If you run the first time, you're a citizen. You run again, you're still a citizen. It doesn't change. It doesn't, you don't become something else. So we need some clarification, but I totally agree with sending this off to an attorney. Absolutely. Thank you.
Go ahead, Councilor Roulette, and I'm going to go
All
to
right.
Councilor King.
So this is the actual, this is not a summary, this is the actual words, and this is going to take a little longer to read. Each municipality shall protect and save harmless any municipal officer, whether elected or appointed, of any board, committee, council, agency, or commission, including any member of a local emergency planning committee appointed from such municipality pursuant to Section 22A-601, or any municipal employee of such municipality from financial loss and expense, including legal fees and costs, if any, arising out of any claim, demand, suit, or judgment by reason of alleged negligence or for the alleged infringement of any person's civil rights on the part of such officer or such employee while acting in the discharge of his duties.
I think we got it.
It says whether elected or appointed. So you are a municipal officer because that's the way the law reads it.
Councilor King.
Thank you.
Can't hear you.
Thank you,
Councilor
Mr. Mayor. There's a couple of issues that I have. One, and I've had this from the beginning. One is that the lawsuit was always about a seat. Regardless of who sat in that seat, the name is just a placeholder. The suit is, to use your words, full stop, about a seat. The fact that we have other individuals, for whatever their reasons may be, have put Mr. Mavsum and Mr. Balboni as names, I would suggest to you that they are just placeholders. The charter never says anybody by name. It's a seat. So that's number one. So the fact that even at a certain point when Mr. Balboni's name came up, which I was surprised it did, for me, it was just a name to put there. It could have been Kerry, it could have been any Republican person that had the next highest votes. But at the end of the day, it's about the seat, not the individual, which leads to point two. If it is about the individual that happens to be the next person that is now a counselor, then that should have come before us. That should have gone through the town manager. The town manager would have said, hey, just to use your wording about scope of positions, if you will, and we would have decided as a town council, are we going to pay this or not? The fact that the town manager went to the insurance company is no different than, say, you or I. When I'm choosing an insurance company, before I go and say, for example, I have 3 cracks in my windshield, I am supposed to go to my insurance company and say, hey, I have 3 cracks in my windshield, are you going to pay it? No, we're not going to pay it. Okay, I don't then go get the windshield fixed and say, well, you should pay it because I was insured under you, even though you told me no, it wasn't part of my insurance. So that's point 2, is that at no given time did this bill ever come before us as a town council to pay or not. My final point, and actually this is probably a 3 and I have a 4, is be careful to both of my colleagues, because you are now opening a door for Mr. Madison. If we are going to say that Councilor Balboni, or in this particular case, Rick Balboni, that we are willing to pay his bill without any notice, then rightfully, Mr. Madison can say, hey, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I was actually elected because we don't have a judgment yet from the courts. You need to pay my bill as well. And lastly, You can't pick and choose when you want to file the town attorney and then when you don't, when it suits you. 1 minute you want to file the town attorney and say we're at 5-4 and that's how we're going to go. And then when the town attorney says, well, no, this is a conflict because it's Rick Balboni, not Counselor Balboni, no, we don't want to follow that. So which one is it, Counselor Olet? Are we going to file the town attorney and say no? You know, we're going to pay for it because it's a counselor, or are we going to file the town attorney and say, well, it should never have been 5-4 to begin with?
Before you guys, I've been reasonably quiet. Mr. Maniscalco, we just hired a town attorney tonight. Does it make sense for this to be, unfortunately, the first thing we hand the town attorney? I mean, we're asking for input from the council. You know, I think you've heard some input from the council. Unfortunately, it's not all. I still think it should be all 9 people, or at least 8, because this really has nothing to do with charter revision. It has everything to do with what kind of bills are we going to pay, but whatever. But why don't we just ask the town attorney to take a look at the statute that Councilor Olet was nice enough to read to us? I mean, I'm not an attorney, seems to have some weight, but let the town attorney read it. I don't necessarily want to pay more bills than we need to pay, but Councilor King put on the record, and you know, the other bills, let the town attorney decide and make a recommendation. I don't know if that needs to come back to us or just go to you. I don't know that we ever like vote on any particular bills to be paid. You were nice enough to come to us because you knew, so you know what this was, but you don't come to us every day with bills. But you were looking for a little advice, so why don't we ask the town attorney for their advice?
We can get a recommendation from the town attorney, certainly. I think this is, the reason this one is coming to you is this one's a little outside of the norm. You know, most of the bills that come in are something that have been approved within the budget in some way, shape, or form, and, you know, falls kind of within that scope of what we're supposed to be doing. This is a little bit outside of something that we've typically seen, so that's why we're here, looking for guidance. So
I totally understand.
I can seek the town attorney to review it and give us his recommendation, and we'll get back to you at your next meeting, hopefully.
This is on the agenda this evening as a discussion item only. There's no resolution with this. There's no anything. So the next time that it comes and revisits us, can we have a better, clear understanding of what's going on?
But my question is, why would it ever be a resolution?
Well, it wouldn't if we were to pay it.
Can I just finish? I don't think we want to set a precedent that we're not going to pay a bill until this group votes. I mean, if the town attorney makes a recommendation to the town manager, they do that all the time. Are we going to trust the new town attorney?
Yeah.
If they say pay it, we pay it. If they say don't, we don't.
Okay.
Is everybody okay?
I'm shutting up. I'm shutting up. Got to get the other counselors back in.
They're going. Would anybody like to volunteer to read this? If not, we'll wait for Councilor Balboni. All right. Councilor Delnicki, 13D.
Resolution regarding the town participation with the Connecticut Municipal Development Authority as a member municipality, requested by Michael Maniscalco. Whereas the Connecticut Municipal Development Authority, the authority, a body, politic, and corporate constituting a public instrumentality and political subdivision of state of Connecticut, has been established pursuant to Section 8-169 II of the Connecticut General Statutes, the General Statutes, and whereas the authority was created for the performance of an essential public and governmental function, including the purposes set forth in Section 8-169JJ of the General Statutes to, 1, stimulate economic and transit-oriented development as defined in Section 13B-79KK of the General Statutes within the Connecticut Municipal Development Authority development districts. 2, encourage residential housing development within development districts. 3, manage facilities through contractual agreement or other legal instrument. 4, stimulate new investment within development districts and provide support for creation of vibrant, multidimensional downtowns. 5, upon request of the legislative body of a member municipality or legislative bodies of the municipalities constituting a joint member entity as applicable in which a development district is located, work with such municipality or municipalities to assist in development and redevelopment efforts to stimulate the economy of such municipality or municipalities. 6, upon request of the Secretary of Office and Policy Management and with approval of Chief Executive Officer of a member municipality or Chief Executive Officers of the municipalities constituting a joint member entity as applicable in which the development district is located, enter into an agreement to facilitate development or redevelopment within such development district. 7, encourage development and redevelopment of property within development districts. 8, encourage residents of member municipalities or municipalities constituting a joint member entity as applicable and other stakeholders in development and redevelopment efforts. 9, market and develop developments districts as vibrant and multidimensional. And 10, provide financial support and technical assistance to municipalities to develop housing growth zones. And whereas under general statutes, the types of projects for which authority assistance is authorized, including the following: A, the design and construction of transit-oriented district development as defined in Section 13B-79KK of the general statutes. B, creation of housing units through rehabilitation or new construction. C, the demolition or redevelopment of vacant buildings. And D, development and redevelopment. And whereas according to Section 8-169LL of the general statutes, a municipality may, by certified resolution of the legislative body of the municipality or by the Board of Selectmen in a municipality where the legislative body is the town meeting, opt to join the authority as a member municipality, provided such municipality holds a public hearing or otherwise provides for public comment prior to any vote on such certified resolution. And whereas the town of South Windsor, the town, held such a public hearing or otherwise provided by public comment on April 20th, 2026, pursuant to the notice and/or meeting agenda attached hereto. And whereas the South Windsor Town Council has found that joining the authority as a member municipality would support the town of South Windsor's efforts to stimulate economic development and foster the purposes outlined in Section 8-169JJ within South Windsor, and accordingly desires to join the authority as a member municipality. And whereas the South Windsor Town Council desires to further authorize Town Manager Michael Maniscalco to enter into a memorandum of agreement or other similar agreements with the authority to create one or more development districts within South Windsor to advance the purposes contained in Section 8-169JJ. Now therefore be it resolved that Section 1, the South Windsor Town Council hereby approves the town of South Windsor joining the authority as a member municipality. Section 2, Town Manager Michael Maniscalco is authorized to take or cause to be taken such action, including but not limited to the negotiation and execution of any memorandum of agreement on behalf of the town of South Windsor with the authority and any other agreements, instruments, and documents that such official deems necessary, appropriate, or desirable to implement the terms of any such memorandum of agreement and consummate the intention of this and the resolution. Section 3, this resolution shall be effective as the date of approval.
Second. Take a breath.
God.
Counselor Delvecchi.
Okay, Counselor Balboni.
Counselor King.
Take a break.
The two questions. One, how does this benefit the town? And two, how much does it cost the town?
Mr. Maniscalco.
So, this will not cost the town anything.
Enough said.
There's, I'll take them in reverse order. The funding for CMDA comes from the state of Connecticut, so it's either through bond funds or state of Connecticut funds that they would be receiving their funding. So I guess in theory, you could say that we kind of are funding it as residents of the state of Connecticut, but as a town, there is no cost to us. From a benefits perspective, they're going to be creating a zone where they can do their work, hopefully. And then business entities and developers within those zones will have the ability to go seek low interest rate loans from this organization. So that's one benefit that the town will see. The second benefit is that there have been some instances where the CMDA received funding from the state of Connecticut where those funds could then be used for municipal improvements in those zones for economic development. So let's just say in the zone, wherever they identify, there might need to be a sewer improvement in that area to promote some type of business to occur in that area. The town could apply for a grant, they would get the grant and then do that sewer improvement that way, rather than paying for it out of our pocket.
Okay, so that's where it says under this phase 2 planning piece where it says where we may want CMDA's technical or financial support, that's where that falls under.
That's what they're talking about.
Councilor Roulette.
All right, so we struggle in this town with 830G housing, and this is a pathway to 830G. We're inviting a non-South Windsor-based entity into our town to identify an area that is good for high-density housing. They identify it, then they go get and secure funding because now they've identified something on a map and said this is going to be the zone where high-density housing fits. They work with builders, they connect them with low-interest loans. Those builders come into our town, propose an 830G project that is being funded by the state. We say no, and we lose because we can't stop 830Gs. It's just a pathway to grease the skids for 830G development coming into our town, and our school system cannot handle it.
Does, through you, Mr. Mayor?
I have Deputy Mayor Paterna first. No, I apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's not the impression that I had. I thought this was more economic development, businesses, and also I want to make sure that people understand this could be an avenue for us with a low-interest loan that's given to a developer to avoid a tax abatement, for instance, because we'll be helping them in other ways by getting a low-interest loan. Is that accurate?
So, I mean, they would give loans to any developer, whether it's, you know, housing, build commercial, mixed use. I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna have to include some piece of commercial, just from what I've seen. So, you know, is there a housing portion to it? Sure, you can't deny that's in there. Do I think that somebody coming in with just a pure, I'm gonna put 100 units in this location, proposal's gonna get a lot of attention? I don't think so. I think somebody coming in with a mixed-use development may get a little further. That being said, in terms of tax abatements, the tax abatement conversation happens with the Economic Development Commission and all of you. Now, if somebody's coming into you with a request and they've already received notice that they're gonna get a low interest rate loan, that is your prerogative. If you wanted to, you could say, no, we're not interested in doing a tax abatement. We already know you have financing from this agency. As a result, we're not gonna do that. But that's really your choice. It's not something mandated.
Okay, thank you. Councilor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To Councilor Ouellette's point, and only, unless I'm misreading it, It says, once you join CMDA, are you stuck with whatever they want to build? The answer is towns control all development decisions. Towns identify, towns decide, towns and developers apply, but local officials maintain final approval authority over development districts. So even if they do that, I hear what you're saying, potentially, but even if they do, we still have the right to say yes or no. Even if they say, hey, we want to put up 100 whatevers, it still has to come to us. I mean, that's what it literally says, facts, who we are. So I don't know, maybe I'm misreading it.
You want me to respond or no?
I'm gonna go to Councilor Delnicki, then Councilor Roulette, and then I got a couple.
Thank you. I believe, and I'm not sure if it was through the CMDA, but Metro Realty, they've never asked for tax abatements for any of their developments, like 175 Oakland, Berry Patch, and the new one that's on Deming, because they got from the state a low-interest loan. And I'm not sure if it's through this, but it was.
Their loans
Right.
are through the Connecticut Fair Housing Authority, CFHA.
Okay.
So similar scenario, but that's focused on affordable housing specifically.
So if there was going to be an area that was identified, they could either take a low-interest loan from here or the CHFA. So either way, it could happen. Okay, thank you.
Councilor Roulette.
If somebody proposes it, or so 830G didn't exist when Berry Patch was built, and I don't think it existed when Oakland was done either. So 830G is a very slippery slope for us. It's just inviting in a third-party agency that has interests other than the interests that we have. Our interest is protect our school system. If we could put up a barrier to prevent any development here, if we could do another moratorium, we should. We can't. I would not invite anybody from outside of South Windsor in to try to create a new district or identify properties that developers can come in here and build 830G high-density housing, because our school system would be, it already is overwhelmed, would be more overwhelmed.
Mr. Maniscalco, and then I'll go to Councilor Fitzgerald. Any of these developments have to be in the town center?
So any of the developments that they would fund for a loan would have to be in their identified zone. So whatever that zone is. To create their zone, they're looking at specifically like what is a town, they want to promote town centers, the redevelopment of town center areas.
Okay, and do we know, I mean, I know this is their document, to Councilor Ouellette's point, so what they say and what they do may be the same or may be different, but do we know who starts this process to bring them in? I mean, because one of the examples I heard was that a developer could go to them and then come to us.
So once we've become a member municipality, and they've done their evaluation, created their zone, it's the developer's job. If they're interested in getting a loan, the developer goes directly to them. And that's where they would get their loan. The developer still has to come to the town for their zone approvals and all that sort of stuff. So we're not giving any of that up.
But like if this was a couple years ago, would our discussion be different than now? Forget the schools, but let's just talk about the law that passed. Does it make sense for us? I mean, I was ready to pass this today. But does it make sense for us again? Well, to Councilor Ouellette's point, do we have an additional liability out there by making it easier? We want to make it easier for development to come to the centers of our town and help us with, light poles and roads and whatever and loans so people develop. I get that. I totally get that. We've had discussions, totally get that. But if it makes it easier for that development to also bring in housing, at a time, and maybe we don't want it, or the kind that we don't want. Doesn't that law make it awful tough for us, 830G, to like turn down that housing? It might not have a couple years ago, but isn't that the big change? Or am I missing the point?
Right, so, I mean, 830G laws allow for low-income housing to be built, and essentially, the developer comes in, if it's an unfriendly 830G application, you end up in court, it's by law awarded to the developer, and it gets built. That could happen today. I think, you know, if you're gonna connect, what we're talking about is a funding mechanism for developments and a housing law. Now, the funding mechanism potentially could work on a housing development, but it also could work on commercial and other things as well. I mean, we could connect almost anything that we do to the 830G law in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how productive or not that is. I mean, it could go both ways. So, but I've always looked at them as two separate things. I have not heard that CMDA is interested in ramming through affordable housing developments or 830G applications or anything of that nature. I understand the housing scenario that we're faced with and the potential that it creates additional kids, and that could have negative impacts on our schools. But we have a planning and zoning commission that manages those things and has rules and regulations associated with that. This is not to change any of that. It's not to take any of the planning and zoning commission's authority away. It's gonna do an evaluation of everything. They may make some recommendations to them. Doesn't mean they have to take them. I don't know.
Okay. I'll go to Councilor Fitzgerald in 1 minute. This is something that we wanted to get into. We've had multiple discussions. Do you know of any town based on 830G that's like walked away from this, that was a party to it?
I haven't heard of any. I believe Manchester's joined from the closest community that's joined. I've heard a bunch of others around us. Particularly, we were approached by the owner of the former Geisler's development. He is very interested in making an application for the redevelopment of his property to this organization, and that's kind of what spurred on this conversation, so.
Okay. Councilor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just going to say, shortly after the election back in November, I had coffee with a friend of mine who is the Economic Development Director in the town of Berlin. And we had coffee in this relatively new area that was being developed in the town of Berlin. So it was, you know, a brand new road had been put in. It was on an old brownfield that had been, you know, it was redeveloped. So it was, you know, cute little buildings, coffee shop, there were a bunch of restaurants, there were, you know, second floors. I don't know if there were apartments. I know there was, like, I saw one yoga studio up above, but it was a really great area, and he was saying that, he was telling me that one of the ways that he was drawing businesses into Berlin was by hooking them up with the CMDA and, you know, making that connection for the businesses so that they could go and, you know, get whatever loans or whatever they're gonna get from the CMDA. But he was telling me that he found this organization extremely helpful in luring businesses there, and, you know, and he took me around this whole area. I didn't see any big apartment complexes, nothing like that. It was commercial businesses in this area. So, you know, I think it's a good economic development tool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilor Roulette.
I'll leave it with this. So I believe it was 2 town councils ago I talked about there's Public Act 25-164, and that is the new regulation. It's effective on July 1 this year. It was passed on October 1st, 2025, and it allows commercial as-of-right conversion to residential. That means that every piece of commercial property left, go down Sullivan Ave, can now be converted into residential property, multi-unit residential property. There's 2 different kinds. One's called middle housing, another one, which middle housing is just apartments. The other one is you have some component of retail on the bottom with residential above. You can have a much higher density there. We're already facing headwinds between 830G and 25164. Adding more to the mix where there's more risk of additional housing is what I am scared of, and that's why I am opposed to this.
Mr. Mascicco, last question, and then we'll take a vote. We become a member. At any point, we can stop being a member?
That I don't have an answer to. I could find out for you. I mean, I wouldn't see why not.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Maniscalco, if you don't mind. It does say it on the facts page. If you join the CMDA, are you locked into a program that you can't control or leave? Answer, towns can exit at multiple decision points. They can vote no on a membership, decline to make zoning changes, choose not to create, decide not to apply. Participation is voluntary every single step.
Okay. Okay.
So I just look at this as a if
Okay.
I can, I just look at this as a partnership, almost like what we pay for a consultant to do.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor? Aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, roll call, please.
Okay, Counselor Olet,
No.
Counselor Pendleton,
Abstain.
Counselor Cudero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paterna,
Yes.
Mayor Zimmerman,
Yes.
Counselor Delnicki. Yes. Counselor Fitzgerald. Yes. Counselor King. Yes. Counselor Balboni. I'm sorry, say that again? Was it no? Okay. All right, we have 2 noes, 1 abstention, and 6 yeses.
Okay. We are up to 13F. Counselor Delnicki.
Resolution accepting the resignation of Dan Katzbeck from the Inland Wetlands Agency Conservation Commission. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby accepts with regret the resignation of Dan Katzbeck from the Inland Wetlands Agency Conservation Commission effective March 26, 2026. And be it further resolved that the South Windsor Town Council extends its thanks to Dan Katzbeck for the time dedicated to serving the community by membership on the Inland Wetlands Conservation Commission.
Is there a second? Okay. Any questions, concerns? All those in favor? I'm sorry, Counselor Delnicki.
I'd just like to just thank Dan for being a part of the Inland Wetlands Agency, because I know he joined during the COVID time, 2020. So he's been on for a while, and then with the change in the election, this past one, he lost his seat, and then it was gained back through the resignation of a full member. So Dan, hope you're able to come back sometime. Thank you.
All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. Thank you. We have letter G. Counselor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution approving refund batch number 17 for 4 refunds totaling $707.75. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby approves 4 tax refunds, the total of said refunds being $707.75 as more fully described in Exhibit B.
Second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. Passages of ordinances. We have none. Public comment? So the normal policy, if somebody gives us a letter and asks for it to be read, but that's only if they're not here? Like if they had emailed it in? Is that what's the normal?
That's
Mr. Maniscalco?
So I'm guessing those were people that were here and okay. So, I mean, you don't have to read those into the record. I think you could say you received letters from a number of people. We're gonna share copies of them with the rest of the council and then just have them added to the record after the fact. That would be my recommendation.
Okay? Yes. All right, we will do that. They look like they're pretty in-depth, so we'll make sure that everybody gets a copy. Three of them. All right, we are up to public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak to us? Seeing none. Communications from the council? Seeing none. Councilor Balboni, and then Deputy Mayor Paterno.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not positive I'm going to be here May 4th, so I'd like to mention that Thursday, May 7th at 6 p.m., 437 King Street is the National Day of Prayer this year. I just wanted to bring it up. Like I said, not positive I'm going to be here May 4th. Otherwise, I'll reiterate then as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Paterno.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know we've been wrestling with some of the boards and commissions, and I know that Linda Jeski's in the audience, and I just want to put a note out there that the Zoning Board of Appeals could use some adjustment. And I think basically it's for a future meeting, but basically it's that it's probably better for the commission, the way it works, just to have 2 Ds and 2 Rs on there and not worry about whether there's majority or just make it 4 people and let them work together. They always have. So just putting that in your mind for now. We'll bring it up next meeting. Thank you for reminding me. Board of Assessment Appeals, not Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, item 17, executive session. Can I get a motion, Deputy Mayor Paterno?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move that we go into executive session pursuant to CGS 1-200 6D, discussion potential purchase of property 100 Schreier Road, and invite Michael Maniscalco, the town manager, to join us.
All right, and just from the, for the audience, we'll be adjourning the meeting from the executive session. All right, all those in favor of going to executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Thank you.